box office beat off. We're going to have that a little later. And listen, I can beat you off. You can beat me off. We can talk about it.
Listen, you want to beach off. We'll beach off any day you want to beach off.
Right. That's right.
I'll beat you off and I'll beat your friends off.
It was by far the best part of that movie.
Yeah. Well, it's only a good part of the movie. Sorry.
Right on. All right. We got, let's just jump into it today. Right. We are going to go, yeah. So
real quick,
I actually wanted,
real quick. Don't forget the Stream Hero top left. If you guys, if anyone gives either tips or super chats in any of the locations, it'll count toward the Stream Hero. Whoever's the Stream Hero the longest gets a free mystery box full of 5 incredible random T-shirts in your size.
Dang. Wow,
5.
That's incredible. I didn't know if that was 5.
5.
Wow. All right, you guys heard it here.
In order, in honor of 5 free T-shirts the Stream Hero will be getting, we are looking for 5 new members today. I'm doing that thing that Kadish always does. 5 new members, and if the second someone gives 5 members, 10 new members.
Yeah, well, he's been successful with his thing. So
yeah.
So the plan to go into this week, typically we try to talk about like whatever the big movie is that's coming out this week and kind of give you guys some idea of what's happening at the box office, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to go watch Priscilla.
We didn't care.
Presley's wife story. And after watching the last Elvis Presley biopic, which was pretty good, I just couldn't bring myself to once again going back into that story and getting another angle at it. So we didn't do that.
I just didn't care at all.
I understand. And you don't like the biopics.
No.
So, I really have to carry a torch for that stuff. And if I'm not doing it, then it's not going to happen for those. So yeah,
that's true.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, you want to watch this biopic about this Norwegian Nobel scientist who made his mark by studying cockroaches? I'm like, fuck no. Absolutely not. I don't.
In all fairness, I don't want to watch that one either. Okay, that doesn't sound good either. But this week we thought, until kind of the news started like marinating, I thought we were going to talk about the fact that that you guys are all of us are pretty much getting ready to go out of jobs. And I had a couple of experiences last week that were just tripping me out. Like I went to Lowe's to buy something. And Lowe's has like this full-on thing going on right now where it's shutting down all of its normal registers, and you just have the self-checkout registers, right? There's nobody manning the other ones.
Same with Home Depot.
Right. So I'm pulling up, and I bought something innocuous. It was something cheap, and I'm like, it's fine. And so I go through the line, and I realize that there's 4 Lowe's employees standing there watching me scan my items, do the register, put in my numbers, and do all the stuff myself. And they're just standing there, like leaning against the wall and like watching me. And so I finish my checkout, and I'm like, I just have to say something. And so I walk up to one of the girls standing there, and I said, you know that you're going to lose a job soon. Like you realize that, right? Because you guys don't have the checkout stands going. She's like, oh, no, we're all working. We're all here. I'm like, yeah, but you're like watching me do your job. And she's like, yeah, I don't see what the problem is. And I said, I promise you at some point your bosses are going to get tired of paying you for watching me do your job. And so I trust me, the people are going to start getting laid off. And Lowe's, I'm telling you how much money they can save with employees. But that wasn't it. So I had that situation. And then I sent my son off to spend a few hours at Magic Mountain with his friends. He's a teenager now. And so you're able to drop them off, and you feel relatively safe that they're in the park. Right.
Right.
And that's cool. So I gave him money, cash, for drinks and food, for the time he was there. And then I left him. I came back that evening to pick him up, and all the kids were like, starving, dying of thirst. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why didn't you guys get something? They're like, they don't accept cash. And it's only on card, and you have to do it through this app. And then there's nobody there, like when you're trying to get your stuff. And we just couldn't get any food or water. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And across all of the parks, apparently this is now starting to happen where it's a cashless park. And you can't, you have to go through an app to get something. So you have to have a mobile device, and it's weird, bro. So they're trying to make their stuff
Yep.
more efficient.
Yeah, everything is requiring some kind of app. So this is like the thinnest. It's a very small version of what you're going through, but 7-Eleven was offering dollar candy. So candy bars were like $1, right?
Okay.
And
2010 prices. Yeah. Okay.
right. So I, of course, being the obese pre-diabetic man I am, like I gotta get these candy bars. So I head to the first 7-Eleven I find, and I'm like, yeah, I'm here for the dollar candy bars. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, there they are. And it's like a bin of candy bars. I'm like stocking up on candy bars, right?
It's like 2 years old.
Whatever.
The chocolate's like breaking off when you unwrap it.
And he's like, yeah, what's your 7-Eleven number? I'm like, what's that? He's like, your 7-Eleven rewards number. I'm like, who the hell has a 7-Eleven rewards number? It's a liquor store.
Right.
He's like, well, in order to get the deal, you have to have the 7-Eleven rewards number. I'm like, all right. I need to sign up or something. Like, he's like, yeah. You have your phone on you? I'm like, oh God, here we go. He's like, you got to download the 7-Eleven app. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, you fill out this thing and you got to send your email, confirm your email. I'm like,
oh my God.
I'm like, you know what, man? I don't want the candy bars anymore. This is too much work. He's like, you know what? I'll just put my reward number for you. I'm like, you could have done that a long time ago. You could have done that 5 minutes ago before I was downloading an app. He's like, well, they really want you to sign up for the rewards. I'm like, yeah, you know what, man? Never mind. I don't want your number. I don't want any number. I don't even want to do this anymore. You guys, I'll be back. I'll be back when regular coupons work again. Damn it.
Yeah. Dr. Omega says something here in the chat that is really pinging with me right now. He says that there was a story this week about a self-checkout register asking for a tip. No joke. I got to tell you, the tipping situation has made me want to start just going crazy on people. If I go through like a Starbucks is a great example. And I understand that you can't go through Starbucks very often because a coffee costs $46. Right. But when you go through, you can't just hand them your card, right? You don't hand them your card to pay for your thing. They put the thing out in front of you and they say, yeah, answer the question that it's asking you right there. And then pay for your thing. And I look at it and it's like, do you want to leave a tip? And it's not just, do you want to leave a tip? It's, do you want to leave a $4 tip, a $12 tip? I'm like, what in the hell is going on here?
Right.
And then it's a no thanks button over on the right. So you literally have to say, I do not want to give you a tip. Thanks. Go make my drink and don't spit in it, please.
It's worse with the Clover ones. The Clover systems has like the percentage. And you have to hit other and then type in 000.
Oh my God, really?
There's no thank you option. You have to literally type in 0 while they're staring you in the eyes. And then when you hit 0, it gets to the next screen. It's like, would you like to round up for like cancer or something? And I'm like, then you have to hit no. Would you like to?
Oh, yeah. Oh, the rounding up.
I'm trying to buy a $5 black coffee. This is too hard.
Right. Yeah. No, don't get me started on the whole rounding up thing. You know, the grocery stores who want you to round up so that they can donate money to them, like then write it off on their taxes. Screw those guys. But the worst part is now I've gotten so cold. Well, so if you don't give them a tip, most of the people see that you didn't give them a tip and they go from being friendly to ignoring you the rest of the time you're at the window, because now they feel you're not going to give them tip. What's the point of putting any effort into you? Even though customer service is part of your job at the window, but that's okay.
Right.
You know, so it's just a very uncomfortable thing. I've gotten to the point now where I just say, yeah, no tip. And I won't even click the button. I've become like almost passive aggressive about the whole thing. Just the idea of tipping. I mean, tipping came from waiters and waitresses, you know, coming out and getting your dishes and taking your order. You didn't go up to the counter to do it. They would come to you.
Yeah.
And that's where tipping came from. And now it's become this ridiculous thing where you go get a sandwich at Subway and they're like, you know, trying to hook you up for a tip and they haven't done a damn thing except their job. Anyways, this is not where we were going today.
No, the tipping is out of control. Omega says something. DoorDash has been testing a pop-up notice that says if you don't tip, your order's going to take longer. this new thing. Like, if you don't tip, your order will take longer. You're like, what the?
What?
So basically, tipping is like a premium upsell, I guess. I don't know, man. It's out of control. The app thing are out of control. The tipping's out of control. Everything's out of control. I went to McDonald's the other day, and it was a robot voice talking to me over the intercom, and it was like, please select your order. And you're like, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm looking around. I'm confused. I'm like, can I get a 10-piece chicken McNugget? Is your order correct on screen? And it's like 10-piece chicken McNugget. I'm like, yes, it is. He's like, please proceed to the window. And I'm like, oh, okay.
So you had a
robot,
actual robot.
It was a robot voice, and they like understood my voice and everything. And there was like a little button I can press if it didn't. And I did not like that at all. It felt, I felt like cattle being moved through like the butcher's line for a minute.
Let me ask you a question, Brian. Okay, when they replace all of us with self-checkout machines and have us do all of our own work, where's everybody going to work at? Like, where are the jobs going to be?
We're all going to work at Amazon delivery services.
Everybody's going to be delivering packages because they haven't figured out how to get all those, drone delivered packages yet.
Or Uber Eats or something. Yeah, it's going to be something like that, bro. And when they figure out the drone thing, like, the other day, I found out that I think it's Domino's. Domino's has a drone car. Like it's a goddamn car.
It's been a while. It's been out.
Right. But I actually saw one on the street the other day, and it tripped me out. They have a drone car that will bring you your pizza, and it's really funny because it's really easy to like mess with the car. Like if you get in front of it just a little bit, it just stops.
Oh, it's like the taxis in San Francisco.
Right. But it's in my mind, I'm thinking, dude, if there's like a lot of traffic, it's going to take like 3 hours for this car to get where it's going.
Yeah,
like
and approximately 30 minutes for somebody to steal the pizza from the car, find a way to stop it, and get the pizza out of the car.
So I actually ordered Domino's a couple of times trying to get the car just so I can get the experience, and it hasn't happened for me. The car was around my neighborhood, but I haven't yet to figure out how to get the stupid car delivered. Because I want my kids to go out there, push the button in, and see the experience. Hasn't happened.
There's no driver. Is that what you're saying?
There's no driver in the car.
I still don't see how this is a safe thing.
No, it's not. There's no way it's safe. Okay, we had some super chats. Before we get to the first topic, let's get off this Starbucks AI thing. There's actually AI news in the Weekly Weird today that
it is fantastic though. You got to
blow your mind.
Okay, but this is stuff that needs to be discussed at some point.
Yeah, I don't know what to do though. Like we can't stop it. As YouTubers, we can talk about it, post about it.
Yeah.
Complain about it, et cetera, make fun of it. But like we can't stop this. And I think that there's going to be a point, like right now, there's an air of convenience where people think it's more convenient for this. But in reality, it's not. It's not more convenient for you to check out yourself because every other person has a problem. I went to Home Depot the other day to buy and I'm not joking, $40 piece of wood. It was an 18 by 30. It was actually the shelf rack here. It broke. So I measured it, went to Home Depot, got an 18-inch by 36-inch piece of wood, and it was $42. I don't know how it's so expensive for some plywood, but I'm going to stop right there.
Everything's expensive.
I'm going to the self-checkout. There's 4 people in front of me. There's 4 self-checkouts. They don't take cash. It's all card. They don't take cash at the self-checkout for some reason. Like, oh, yeah, system's broken. And people were walking up, and it's like every other person is like, I want to pay cash. Like, oh, system's broken, sir. And now they're digging out their card, or they're arguing with someone. Every other person's having a problem. Oh, this is not supposed to be this much. Or I thought it was this, or what am I? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, there's one person manning 4 of these stations, and every other person is having an issue. It's not a clean setup.
Yeah.
We are not yet prepared for this monstrosity. I'm already annoyed, and then I get up there, and I scan the wood that I thought was already too expensive at $22, and it's $42, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be one of those people. I'm going to be like, yo, excuse me, why is the wood $42? I don't get it.
Well, and the problem people have is that they're saying that this is progress. See, all the things we're talking about isn't progress. Progress is making things easier for everyone. What this is doing is making things easier for the company because they're making us do the work that they have their employees do. It's not progress. It's a transference of duties and responsibilities that we are paying for.
Right.
We pay for their employees. Okay, wait. We pay for them to have employees.
Right.
It's in the price of the products we buy. Now they continue to raise the prices, but now have us do their employees' work.
Right.
It's not progress. So
no, it's not progress. This is all about making as much. This is as Ferengi as it gets. Okay. Let me tell you something. In the Ferengi home world, I guarantee you there are self-checkout lines everywhere. And in the self-checkout lines, before you can check out, the self-checkout computer asks if you want a tip.
Yeah, well, you can't get out of the store unless you tip. The 114th rule of acquisition.
Right. Wait, when you get to the automated door, it's like, hello, please put 2 bars of latinum in to remove yourself from the store. Yeah, it's one of those things like, now listen, I'm all about capitalism, but capitalism by itself is actually not great. It's got to be a hybrid system. There's got to be a capitalism, a little bit of socialism.
There needs to be checks and balances.
Right, there's got to be a little bit of multiple.
No monopolies.
Right, there's got to be a little bit of everything in there to make it a system that's semi-fair for everyone.
Capitalism only works with competition.
Right, and we're getting to the point now where competition is scarce. Right. And progress is promoted as something that's good for everyone, when in reality, the word progress has now been taken over by people who have no fucking idea what's good for you and only care about themselves.
Yes.
Progress is no longer progress. People are like, oh, it's progress for this thing at your kid's school. Like, no, it's not. That ain't progress. It's progress for you.
For me.
Yeah, it's only progress for you. It's only progress for everyone but us. No one's progressing. You're the ones progressing, and we're all being stuck in the dust, making less money, spending more on everything, and spending more time on the road. Let me tell you something. I went to take I'm sorry. You got me all fired up with you mother.
I wanted to talk about this week, but the Gina Carano stuff came up, and I know we need to talk about her. But...
I took my kids to school this morning. Oh my God. Okay. So I'm thinking about writing a scientific paper on this.
Oh, wow.
If any of you guys drive, you know how this works. And what I'm going to do? I'm going to set up a webcam that shows the rate of people that walk past my driveway or past a crosswalk every day.
Okay.
And then I'm going to put that webcam up. I'm going to find out the rate and when they do it. And then I'm going to take my car out. And I guarantee you there will be someone walking behind my car as I drive out, someone walking across the crosswalk as I drive, every single crosswalk. There'll be somebody going super slow, some pedestrian. But then if you look that way and that way, there's no one for miles. But for some reason, I hit every single pedestrian on the way to my kid's school.
Wait, did you say you hit every single
No, I didn't hit them. I thought considered hitting them.
I'm like, what?
Dude, I can't pull out of my driveway without there being a car or a person blocking my path. But I swear to God, I can go out there and look that way and see no one. See, not a single person on the horizon. But I somehow was the unlucky car where that one person was walking right behind my car at that precise moment in time. There's a glitch in the Matrix, dude. It's like that. Remember that game Need for Speed? Every time you tried to take off, there was a pedestrian that was spawned in front of you. I feel like pedestrians are spawning in front of my car. It's like, it's crazy.
It's awareness bias, though. Like, you're now aware of it, so now you're looking for it. So every time it happens, it confirms your bias.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? Next week, I'm going to set up a webcam. I'm going to film it. I'm going to tell you the rate. And then next week, I'm going to take my car out for that same day, and I'm going to show you how many people get in my way. But there was no one there for 30 minutes before or 30 minutes afterwards, just that one time.
You know, you live in a county where people cannot afford to drive vehicles.
It's so crazy, bro. It's so crazy. There are so many people and so many cars everywhere. It's getting so, I cannot, dude. Okay, our shop, Shane is gracious enough to be like, Brian doesn't want to drive, and Brian's got to fix all the stuff that breaks. So our shop is near my house. It's not near Shane's house. Shane actually lives very far away, and we came to the conclusion that I need to be there more than he does. So the shop is near my house, and I hate to drive. The shop is in the same zip code as where I live. It's in the
probably
same
10 blocks.
Bro, it's in the same zip code of where I live. My kid's school is in the same zip code. I have positioned myself to drive as little as humanly possible in order to conduct my business. It took me 30 minutes to get from my house to our shop.
Wow, that's crazy.
Bro, you know where I live, you know where our shop is. Does that make any sense to you whatsoever? No.
It should take 8 to 10 minutes max.
Max. If there was no cars, it would take me 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I can walk there in less time than it took me to drive there yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, do you feel better? I feel a little.
No, I actually feel worse somehow. I feel like now I know we're gonna go to the next topic, but I really want to keep complaining. But we're not gonna do it.
Let's see if super chats get us going a little bit so we can.
Wait, one more thing. Someone was talking about spending money. $40 for 5 items, right? Because they were gluten-free organic. How about this? Go to Wiener Schnitzel. You know, Zavina Schnitzel. You know, the place that used to be super cheap for a chili dog? Yeah. $45 for 2 fries and a couple corn dogs. I didn't know what was happening. I thought there was an error.
You thought you were being held up, or
yes? I got to the window. I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. How is it that chili cheese fries and corn dogs cost $40? He goes, oh, that's the prices.
Because the employees have to get paid $20 an hour.
And now I'm already there and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh, okay, here's your $40. I don't know what to do, but like I've already ordered it. You've already made it, and it's $42. Okay.
Well, they didn't make it. It was sitting under the warmer. But
it's so crazy. But I'm looking at my kid. And I'm like, I almost want to be like, yo, no, we're gonna leave. You know, I know you wanted chili cheese fries, but it ain't happening, dude. I'm not spending $10 for chili cheese fries. It's not gonna do it.
Well, and sadly, going to the grocery store to buy it isn't much better. So,
all right, super chats. Let's go.
Oh, but wait, before you do. We do have to talk about your phantom electric bill problem.
Oh, God.
I mean, if we're going to do the whole thing, we might as well do the whole thing.
Oh, here we go, everyone. Here we go. Okay. Didn't know we were going to talk about that, but I'm ready. I am so ready to talk about this. Okay, real quick.
It is weird.
It makes no sense. This makes 0 sense, but we have to talk about it. Okay. This right here.
Oh my God, he had it ready.
I had it ready.
Guys, this was not a setup.
This right here is what I paid within a couple dollars every month for my electricity bill this year. Now, wait for it. This was the prediction of what my electricity bill would look like last year when I selected my program, my tier. Because and with Edison, you have different tiers. You have like, you can do a OSD 5 to 8 or what. It's weird. These weird things where you think you have some kind of control over your bill.
Yeah.
And when I selected my tier, this was my prediction for how much I would spend per month according to my past usage. This prediction was within every month.
Wait, did it switch?
What?
Did it switch over to the prediction?
No. This I took a screenshot of this last October.
So this is last year's prediction.
Right.
Okay.
This is last year's prediction. And to be clear, I put it up against what my bills this year, and they were all within $1, some or two, some literally spot on, like a perfect number, where they somehow predicted my bill every year a year ago.
So to be clear, a year ago, they predicted how much he was going to have to pay for the next year, how much electricity he was going to use every month for the next year.
Right.
And they got within $1 or $2 from being correct.
Literally $1 or $2. And
not knowing when you go on vacation or when things change or things break. It just happens to be, boy, if you're a conspiracy theorist, You really got something here.
Does this make any sense to you? Like, in 1 month, literally, and of course it's May 322, which for video game people know that's hilarious. For my $322 a month, it was literally spot on. 322 is like a joke in the video game world where it's like, oh, of course, it's sarcasm.
So is the idea potentially that they don't actually track your electricity usage? They just charge you.
Yeah, after a while, they just charge you what they think you're going to use. Like it's like an AI predictive model of something. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, that would save them a lot of jobs. People don't have to check meters no more. Yeah, right? It's saving a lot of jobs.
And I'm thinking, okay, what if Shane was like, you need to take like a month off and go somewhere else for like a month and just like,
and just shut down your whole house.
Yeah, kill your breaker, right?
See what happens.
See what if you get the same bill. But like, no one can actually do that. And they know that most people, because they're spending so much money, can't actually look into any of this stuff. They can't actually be. You can ask for a review, but like, what does that even do? Like, some guy that works for the electricity company comes out and be like, yeah, you're good. Everything's working fine.
Well, true. And you're probably not going to question it because it's similar to what you paid last year.
Right.
So you're like, oh, well, I guess that's what I used. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. And yes, Penny, my summer bills are higher than your rent. I understand that.
Wait, trust me, we don't want it to be that way.
Yeah, we don't want it to be. We don't know what to do. Like, I'm at the point where like, I don't even use like air conditioning anymore. I'm just sitting here like all hot and sweaty. It's like I don't know what to do. What it is. So,
well, anyways, now we should probably move on. That was fun.
Okay, before we get to the first topic, we do have some super chats. Thank you, John Burns. He says, "Did you guys get my Paul Chato call from Kennedy?" Yes, I did.
Was really funny.
It was really funny. Paul Chato is he's a great guy. He's funny, super funny too.
And it was basically, he voiced, kind of like what the call would be like if it come from Kathleen, right? It wasn't in Kathleen's favor.
I never knew I wanted to see Paul Chato in full drag before. This is a new thing for me.
He's not a bad-looking older woman.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Thank you, John, for the super chat.
Thank you, John. Another one from John. Meanwhile, I'm at Starbucks. 0 barista tips.
When you're at Starbucks, so you don't tip the barista, right?
You don't tip the barista.
Why would you?
What kind of person doesn't tip their barista? I'm kidding. Can't even say it with a straight face.
A couple of times I've actually asked them, do you want to tip? Like, it's asking me this question. Do you want me to tip you? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Oh, come on. Don't act like you don't want to tip. I mean, you want me to tip you, right? I've done this a few times. It's very uncomfortable.
You want to talk about tipping? Bro, I was at in Vegas. I'm going to Vegas next week for Kadish's wedding. And this that actually triggered a memory that is perfect for this story real quick. I went through one of those little drive-through coffee shops in Vegas. And I'm just like trying to get a coffee. I forgot to get my $27 coffee from the hotel. I think it was last year during STLV. I'm like, let me get a coffee real quick. And I saw a coffee shop. And it was like one of those little stands. One of the original. I'm like, oh, right, a coffee stand. I haven't seen that in a long time. I order a coffee. I get up there. And the chick is in like a string bikini.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, this is by far the most Las Vegas thing I've ever seen in my life. It's like 8:30 in the morning, and there's a girl in a string bikini serving coffee. And there's like a list of tips. And I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Tips?
Yeah, there's like a whole thing where like you can like tip for this kind of coffee or that kind of coffee. And I'm like, I think this is code.
Do you tip? Why would you tip differently for different types of coffee?
I don't know. I think it was code, and I was like, hi, hello, ma'am. I just actually want a black coffee. Is that a thing? Can I just do that? Can I just get a regular
tip?
Can I just get a black coffee? She's like, of course. This is a coffee shop. I'm like, is it a coffee shop?
Dude, you order a black coffee and some black dude in like chaps, assless chaps comes out from around the counter.
He's like, hey, yes, you ordered the black coffee. I'm like, I did not. No, sir. So I get a black coffee and I had to ask, I'm like, so this is just a coffee shop? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, why are you naked? She goes, I'm not naked. I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I'm telling you, she was wearing
You were
nothing.
afraid to ask about the tips.
It was such a Vegas thing, but also almost like a disconcerting thing. This was like 2 years ago or 3. When was the last time I went to LCLV? Maybe 3 years ago now.
Oh, it's been a bit. Yeah,
It's been a while, but I'm never gonna forget that. Not because the girl was hot, but because I've never seen a coffee shop with a naked barista before, or almost naked barista.
Yeah, I would have been tripping about the tips, but yeah.
No, but yeah, I wanted to know more. But I was afraid if I asked for more, there'd be more of a more uncomfortable conversation would come out of it. So I just decided to leave.
Something would happen to you.
Why is there a menu with different coffee and different tips amounts? Do you do things to the people that come through? Is this a drive-through, like a drive-through happy ending? What is this?
It's like, he's on to us. Send out the guys.
Send out the guys and the assless chaps.
Christopher Mays 999. Thank you so much, Christopher, for the support. Brian and Shane, just embrace the future. Remember, soon we get the 3 seashells.
Oh man, that's a really good reference to Demolition Man, and I want to know in the movie Demolition Man, Sylvester Stallone wakes up, and they wake him up to deal with this criminal. Who was it? It was
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes, guy who played Blade. And this criminal is like, using 90s style tactics.
Right.
So they wake up a guy who knows how to deal with his tactics, Sylvester Stallone. And the whole future is just like our future. It's really shitty.
It's basically Los Angeles today.
It's basically Los Angeles. Taco Bell is like fine.
Or San Francisco.
Taco Bell is fine dining.
Yes, wait, look how much it costs now to eat at Taco Bell
Right.
because they have to pay their employees $20 an hour.
You get fined for saying things people don't agree with in your job, right?
Okay. Yep.
And there's like this group of underground people that refuse to use all the apps and computers and all that.
That's us. Okay.
So they wake up Sly, and Sly's like, hey, I need to use the bathroom. I need to use the little boy's room. And she points him in the right direction. And when he gets out, he goes, hey, I didn't know what to do. I just saw these 3 seashells. And they start laughing. He doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells.
Isn't that funny?
They don't have toilet paper because it's bad for the environment. They have these three seashells that you use to wipe yourself. And he hasn't figured out how to use them. And to this day, I remember seeing that when I was young, really young. And I remember thinking, how do the 3 seashells work?
Everybody wants to know.
Is there a scraping thing that goes on? Is it part of a bidet system? Like
everybody wants to know. It's alien technology. It's yet to arrive.
I've seen videos try to explain the three seashells, and they all make no sense.
Well, it's because I think it was not supposed to make sense. But thank you, Chris. I hope we get the 3 seashells because honestly, toilet paper is expensive now. So
well, I mean, I don't even use toilet paper. I use a bidet, and it's amazing.
No, I know. You talk about that.
I should make a bidet that uses the 3 seashells.
Oh, you push a button.
One's for like
3
heat,
seashells.
one's for like pressure, one's for like location. Like, is it your butt or is it your testicles?
Oh, all right. A little too close of conversation.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that, Chris. We agree. 3 seashells. John Burns for $2. The War with Grandpa. De Niro at the self-checkout.
Yeah, that was gold.
Yeah.
That was gold.
I mean, is part of the problem we're getting too old? No, that's not the problem. They're taking advantage of us. It's totally different than just not wanting to, oh my God, what's this computer thing? Yeah, no, we're not in that situation. It's literally making us do their work for them.
Look at this computer. We don't know how to use computer.
Oh, Scotty.
That's why I try to steal every time I go through self-checkout.
That's a whole other conversation. Okay. There's a whole thing about right now, Target and all these companies closing down their places because too many people are stealing. And what's happening is I think people like you are stealing from the checkout. And literally I've gone through it and I've evaluated it. I'm not going to steal anything yet. Okay. But I'm thinking about it and I'm looking at their security measures as I self-checkout myself. And I keep thinking, what do I earn per hour working for Target? Do I earn $20 an hour like everybody else? Well, what in my basket is worth $20? So every third trip I should be able to just get something worth $20.
And then every time I ask you a tip, you go, "Can I restart this process so I can steal half this stuff, please?"
Wait, and if you're tipping the machine, do you get the tip since you did the work?
Right. Is that how does that
and
work?
You get your own money? Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Should we move on?
Speaking of tips, if you'd like to tip us, the link is in the top right.
After we just complained, we're literally doing our jobs.
You can go to streamlabs.com/the podcast live.
We're literally doing our jobs. And we're asking for tips. We're no better than
you
a
can
Starbucks
do tips.
barista.
That's the Streamlabs tip. Because they take less money than YouTube Super Chat.
No, we don't have an employer. We don't get paid.
Yeah,
That's
we
right.
don't.
Okay, so it's a little different.
It's a little different.
Maybe we should
You know
move on
what?
to Gina.
I'm just gonna remove this tip URL real quick. I don't think we want that up there anymore.
You feel weird. Having a tip URL. Super chat. That way YouTube gets half of it.
YouTube takes, they take a lot, man. Jeez.
All right, sir. Let's move on to something more interesting than our old man Simpson yelling at the clouds.
Screaming at the clouds. Let's talk about Gina Carano. You want to set this up?
Yeah, Gina Carano, who, of course, we got to know mostly from The Mandalorian, playing an excellent character in a series that was very hopeful in its first season. She, of course, came under fire because of her political views during COVID, and was summarily dismissed by Disney, and has put herself into an awkward situation since, choosing her freedom of speech over her desire to, actively work in Hollywood, which we commend her on. And when the South Park episode, The Pandaverse, came out, it apparently sent Gina through this PTSD-like situation. And she came out with a tweet that said to get ready for what Kathleen Kennedy was going to do against this. So, Brian, do you have that tweet? We can talk about it.
I do. It is right here. Gina Carano. She says, "This is the part where KK demands any YouTubers get censored off of YouTube for sharing and laughing at this hilarious episode. She'll have YouTube disable the thumbs down option because of the ratio she'll receive. And then she'll have her publicist ghouls," that's a cool word, ghouls, "make sure Variety and Hollywood Reporter run hit pieces about the South Park creators and their families, smearing their names through every useful idiot she has under her thumb. Who would sell her soul to work for Lucasfilm? She'll activate her online mob to repeat that YouTube creators are racist, bigots, transphobes, and demand that South Park creators publicly apologize by only using words she approves of. And finally, she'll demand they subject themselves to a re-education course of 45 people in the LGBT community Zoom call to sit there and listen of how badly they got their feelings hurt over a little boop of a South Park episode. But maybe, just maybe, the jig is up."
Yeah, and what's interesting is Gina, there's some of the things here that she said before, and she's been, she doesn't pull punches. But there's some interesting new information here. And you got to remember, when Gina puts out information and she talks, it's all very common sensey. One of the things I love about Gina is that everything she says makes sense, regardless of to me, you can't, reasonable is reasonable, and so if somebody's speaking reasonably, that's one thing. Now, she's an expert. So she was in this, she worked for Kathleen. She worked for the Disney machine. She went through this process. So the things that she's saying here is not hyperbole. This is actually what happened to her.
Right.
And so that tells you the length of what people will go through, what Kathleen will go through, whether she's, as said here, running hit pieces, which I don't know. I saw some hit pieces against Matt and Trey, but nothing overt, nothing too overt anyways.
Yeah. A lot, I think a lot of publicists and news sites, they just know that no one cares. That there's no win there.
Yeah. So they don't attack it because they can't win, because they did just enough making fun of both sides to make them really untouchable.
Right.
But this thing that I find interesting
they're
about
made men.
They are made men. The thing I find interesting here, though, is she talks about being subjected to a re-education course of 45 people in the LGBTQ community. That is a very specific number. Like, if you're just going to exaggerate, you're not going to say 45. You're going to say 50, 70, 100, whatever. It's going to be a round number, not 45, which means it's very specific, which means it's something that happened to her.
Right.
So 45 people in the LGBTQ community, a Zoom call to sit there and listen to how badly they got their feelings hurt. Okay. Which means that Gina had to be, put in front of a firing squad, so to speak, kind of like that show, the movie Old Dads,
when he walks out there.
Where, yeah. And he's got the entire school, like parents, like basically
I wasn't there, but it
him.
hurt my feelings when I heard about it.
Right. And so Gina had to go through this because her words hurt people's feelings. So this is a real thing happening here. And all it does is continue to add more ammunition to the fact that these corporations are completely out of control. Like when a corporation used to have like guidelines, there's things you can and can't do to your employees, right? And you could get in trouble. You could get sued in court. You could, wrongful termination, all kinds of different things. But there seems to be these protections in line that doesn't happen to people like Disney, right? Gina, I got to be honest with you. She's a hero. I mean, she has chose her morals over her desire to work in Hollywood. Right. And it's easy for anybody to go on social media and have their opinion. A lot of people are lauded for speaking their mind, right? For saying what they want to say and like having the character to like stand up and really speak the truth. But most of the time, for most of us, it doesn't mean anything because nobody knows who we are. Most people are anonymous and there's no consequences for it. But for Gina, there were very real consequences for what she went through. And she continues to double down and back her stand. And you just have to respect somebody like that who's willing to stand up for what they believe, despite the fact that, her career is, at least in Hollywood, is essentially never going to go anywhere. Just like Kevin Sorbo, his career is over.
Yeah.
Her career is over, and it's not right that this is happening to the people because of their viewpoints. So really interesting thing. This wasn't all that she did this week. She also went after Rachel Ziegler, right?
Oh, yes. Real quick, while we're still talking about Trey and Matt, remember, good luck getting an apology out of them because this was their apology to China. I don't know if you guys recall this, but official apologies. Remember, this is from the official start South Park. Official apology to China from Trey Parker and Matt Stone. This is after everyone was mad at him for the China episode.
Yeah.
It's like the NBA, we welcome the Chinese censors into our homes and into our hearts. We too love money more than freedom and democracy. Z doesn't look anything like Winnie the Pooh at all. Tune into our 300th episode this Wednesday at 10. Long live the great Communist Party of China. May this autumn, I don't know what this word is, sorghum, harvest be bountiful. We good now, China?
Ooh, I mean, are they wrong? Listen, if these guys got fired tomorrow and could never make anything ever again, they're still, the rest of their lives are taken care of.
Yeah, they don't care.
They don't care what people think about them. And the first way to be successful in your life is being in a position where you don't have to care what people think about you. Some people have to play the political game in their jobs, in Hollywood, in whatever they do, because there's consequences to your opinion and whatnot. Right. The problem is we need to get to a place where we need to be able to separate what our opinion is and what we do, at the job. The two need to be different.
Yeah, like us getting demonetized.
Well, and there's no really rhyme or reason for it other than YouTube just didn't like what we had to say at one time. I mean, same thing happens to you're constantly seeing out there people being demonetized for doing the same thing they've always done. And it's definitely being weaponized against us. Yeah,
we still can't figure it out as to why we were demonetized. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, most people can never figure it out.
Right. Okay, this is what she had to say about Rachel Zegler. Real quick, here's the picture. That's Rachel Zegler. She's the new Snow White, and she also just signed a deal to be on the Hunger Games, I believe. And
she's in the prequel.
Yeah, so on her Instagram account, she basically posted We have an interim agreement. Thank you, SAG-AFTRA and Lionsgate. So remember, there is a SAG-AFTRA regular strike going on right now. And she's still signing deals. So, of course, Gina went after her. Because
this is really great. And I thought this was really smart what Gina did, because you got to remember, Rachel recently went on all kinds of her own tirades, right, about Snow White, about getting paid for every minute she's worth every minute of time that she spends doing anything to get paid for, right? So Gina says in this tweet, which I think is great, what an odd strike this is. Small non-studio productions are having trouble getting waivers, but studios get the interim agreements left and right. Celebrities go from the picket line to their promotional tours and red carpets. What happened to all that? I better get paid for every hour I stand in this dress talk. Wow. Bam, bam. Shots fired. Meanwhile, the people who are actually suffering are the crews and actors not a part of the studio projects or the in-group to get their waivers granted. The ones whose money will run out quicker, the ones who are having to pick up the second line of work, the ones who will be controlled a whole lot easier once the strike ends based off of desperation to work. Think that was by accident? Maybe they should have granted waivers for all non-studio productions, keep people working, and halt all studio productions if they really wanted to make a difference and reach a faster agreement. So she goes on to talk about the hypocrisy is palpable, the system is rigged and littered with posers. Oh, posers in Hollywood? Go figure.
Posers.
So essentially, it makes her, think about it, right? So why in the hell would SAG-AFTRA allow any deals? Why would they allow any actors to go and help these studios earn money off of their movies? Why?
Right.
Right now, they're in a fight for their lives. They're in the fight for their future financial well-being. Why would they do that?
Yeah.
Because it's handshaking hands, people taking care of people, right? They're backdooring other people so that some people get paid. I'll tell you what it is. They offered them a ton of money. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They said, look. Well, we really need you to come out and do this movie. I know we're on a strike and everything, but here's, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay. If you'll just agree to this one thing.
Right.
And then what are they going to do? They don't want them to cross the picket line.
No, of course not.
So they have to give an interim agreement, because guess what these actors might just do? They might just cross the picket line, and that's going to destroy their argument. So that's what you end up with.
Yeah, no, she has a really good point here. And it's interesting how the only people that matter are the people that already had the in with their studio and their system. That means this whole strike is just a joke. It's a massive joke designed to help the tiny percent that's at the very top of this thing. And it only hurts all the other 98% that are at the bottom that are just trying to work in this industry. In fact, there are people that can't even talk about their projects coming up for fear of getting in trouble with their union.
They can't even mention the name of the project they used to work on.
Right.
Decades ago.
Right. Decades ago.
Yet they're over here red carpeting an upcoming movie by Lionsgate, the prequel to the Hunger Games, which I'm not really excited for. So
and who cares? I don't care.
Yeah. So, Gina just, launching all week, man. She's just coming out. And if you're on Twitter, X, whatever they're calling it, and you're not following Gina Carano, you're not getting good information. You should definitely be following her on Twitter. So
yeah, there's one more thing that Gina talked about, which we were going to talk about, but there's more. We're going to briefly mention the Weekly Weird, I guess. But she talks about in one of her tweets the whole HBO Max making bots to they make bots to complain about people's bad reviews of their movies.
Right. Yeah. I guess Warner Brothers or HBO was somehow caught doing it or something like that.
Yeah. Well, whatever you think, let me tell you something. You think that HBO Max is the only people doing that? You're nuts. Every studio has shills out there defending their crappy movies. And to be honest, I think half the Rotten Tomatoes expert critics are on the take, and maybe they're not on the take directly, like, oh, if you don't say something, we're paying you to say something good about a movie, but because they get such extreme access, and that's their entire business, they have to be real softball with the studios that are giving them access. Meanwhile, studios that don't give them access, like that Sound of Freedom movie, they get lambasted. So the business of critics is no longer a trustworthy business, because even if they're not directly getting paid, they're getting something for their troubles, and they don't
back to that tipping, brother. It's back to that tipping. Everybody wants free money,
and they don't want to lose access to the next Marvel movie or Paramount. We have an account with Paramount Global is what it's called, and basically Paramount Global gives you all access to all the shows ahead of time that you ask for, and so you can review them. And because we have another channel with a lot of subscribers and views, when we applied for access, we got it pretty much immediately. But the second we started the talking trash about Star Trek, all the Star Trek shows that we previously had access to were just mysteriously disappeared from our account. We don't know why. We didn't get any contact.
Well, we know why.
I mean, we didn't get an email being like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" But we do know that we had access to these shows, and when you log into the account now, there is no shows there.
Right. Yeah. No, see that's the difference between the media now and the media, say, a couple decades ago. Because a couple of decades ago, you always allowed all media access, regardless of whether they were going to say something good or bad about you, because you wanted to make sure that you were transparent. Mm-hmm. Because there was a consequence to only giving information to people who were one-sided. People could see through that, and then you were judged for it. But today, that's a standard. Like that's how it works today.
Right.
There is one more tweet by Gina that we need to go through. Someone actually commented to her about, after she made that post about Kathleen Kennedy, somebody came at her, some guy.
Oh, I'm sure.
And he called her crazy, basically, and essentially he was defending Kathleen Kennedy and Disney. And this was her response to this tweet. Do you always call a woman crazy just because she has more firsthand experience than you and say something you don't like or understand? Bit misogynistic, don't you think? Tisk tisk. Curious if your overlords pay you, speaking of what Bryant just said, or do you all just go ahead and shove your whole head straight up their ass for free? I'm guessing for free.
Right.
Might want to come out for some fresh air. For some added context, not just for you, but for the people reading, one of the things your overlords asked me to do was to unfollow certain accounts because they said something bad about Kathleen Kennedy. That was a huge red flag for me. And let me stop right there because this is something I really want to talk about. Brian and I have firsthand knowledge of many, many people inside of Hollywood who are not allowed to follow us or other people in our community because they will get retribution from their bosses. They've been directed by their bosses to not follow us, to not, give us any legitimacy, to not have any interaction with us.
Right.
So what Gina is saying here is 100% true, and it happens all the time. I cannot tell you how many private conversations that I've had with people, whether directly from a phone call, not related to social media at all, or they were like, "Man, I'm sorry, I can't, talk to you on social media because I'm gonna get in trouble."
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, listen, I saw your last video. It's really great. I really wish that I can share it or like it, and I'm not even allowed to follow your account, so." I am following from a side account that no one knows about. And you're like,
most of them are, yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, what the is going on?
Yeah.
Like people go like, "Hey, what are your sources?" I'm like, well, we can't tell you our sources, but here's another reason why we can't, because our sources might get in trouble.
Right. That's
they might get in trouble just for talking to us. And we are vanilla. So imagine people like Gary or something.
Like Gary, right? Yeah.
No one can talk to Gary. No one.
No, absolutely not. So this is something that's we can corroborate what she's saying here. If I were the head of one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world, I would know that the haters come with the territory, and that maybe the haters are expressing their thoughts because they actually care, and caring is a good thing, because as long as they care, well, hey, we still have something to work with. Maybe we can win their hearts back eventually, and maybe they do have some good things to add to the conversation. And that, at the very least, they are still buying the product. Okay. So
that reminds me of what Terry did. Like, Terry went and talked to everyone.
Right. And then got in trouble for it. So, yeah, because it worked. Got lots of eyeballs on Picard season 3, but then he got in trouble because he was associating with known felons.
Right. More known felons.
Or evil people.
We're the evil ones.
Well, and the problem is that, right. And the problem here, look, if you take a look at it, it's so winning their hearts back. Listen, we're not complaining about this stuff. And none of us are complaining about this stuff because we hate Star Wars or Star Trek or Hollywood or movies.
Right.
We're complaining about it because we love it. It's no different than if I were to go down to Home Depot and buy a socket set. And then if I brought the socket set home and opened it up and then used it and it broke, or it was a cheap piece of shit, or it was terrible, that I would not go back to Home Depot and complain loudly until they gave me my money back. Okay, look, it's called consumer happiness. We love Star Wars. We love Star Trek. We love all these Hollywood IPs. We love going to the movies and seeing good stuff.
Yeah.
We don't like it when we buy shit that's broken.
Right.
And we're going to complain about it.
Right. It's like, and let's be real. If you go and spend money on something that is the opposite of what was sold to you, what you were sold in the trailer, and in the IP in general, you go and watch it, you spend all this money, you spend all your time, and you're like disappointed times 3. You're disappointed because you spent money to see something that was horrible. You're disappointed in something that you loved for something so much that is being mismanaged, and you're disappointed that the more you talk about it, the more your signal strength is going to weaken, right? Because you are not going to get any kind of, you are not playing on the same fair field as everyone else. Let me tell you something. People that are joining with the studios, people that have connections, they're really easy to spot because they usually have the most signal boost. They have the most views. They have the most visibility, and there isn't a reason behind it that isn't anything but a conspiracy theory proven true. That's in my throat. People like, I'm not gonna say names, but there are people out there that have very little to offer, very little words to add to a review, let's say, of Killers of the Flower Moon, other than praise. Yet they are getting signal boosted to the extreme. While there are other people who are completely lacking any kind of boost that are reaching all their views organically. I love Critical Thinker. Imagine if Critical Thinker was treated the same in the algorithm as, say, someone like John Campea. Dude, he would have 100 million views a video.
Who are you talking about? Critical Drinker?
Critical Thinker. Critical Drinker is not treated the same via the algorithm as other players in this game are. But those players get the same amount of views, even though they're offering very little to the conversation, because the algorithm, YouTube, social media, is favoring these people that have connections, inroads to these studios, because they're saying nice things, because they're following the rules.
And it's not about just having inroads. So, okay. So for example, I've been reviewing movies for 30 years across multiple publications for decades. Okay. And so I have inroads, but I don't bend the knee and kiss the ring.
Right.
So it's two-parter. And let's actually continue with what she has here in this tweet, because it goes on to talk about this stuff. She says, if you're a proper good leader, you learn how to embrace and communicate not dictate and silence and demand your actors and directors unfollow and shame more than half of your fan base and the people who have stuck with the franchise for decades. Side note, don't say the Force is female and then only allow the men to express their political views online. In fact, just drop the ridiculous phrase completely. And that's talking about Pedro Pascal and some of his comments that they didn't backlash him on.
Right. Kathleen Kennedy said the Force is female, but then Pedro Pascal gets a free pass at any kind of crazy leftist views he can possibly utter. In fact, again, this comes back to, if you like an actor, like, you need to stay away from their social media, because like 80% of them are nuts, dude.
Yeah, no, 100% true. She goes on to say, one of the problems your overlords are having now is that they've made a lot of people completely stop caring about one of the most beloved franchises in history, all by bullying, pushing aggressive agendas, and trying to silence the people criticizing them. How are they able to tell stories they don't understand when the ones they identify with are the Empire? I thought this was great. They're literally trying to squash the little guys, the rebellion. So Disney being the Empire, and all of us here on YouTube,
Mickey is
the rebellion.
Straight a Sith Lord.
Yeah,
yes.
Mickey.
Right. Give me your anger.
No wonder the storytelling is struggling. They fired and dehumanized people like me who did absolutely nothing wrong, all to virtue signal to people like you, the yes men. Remember, she's talking to a guy who's defending Disney.
Right.
But yes men, unfortunately for you and them, do not drive culture. Maybe they were banking on the kids picking up the slack, but one of the best things about this franchise is passing it from generation to generation to share. The competition is too high to throw out something as valuable as that. And what she's saying there is, you know, we, as we were growing up, watch Star Wars, watch Star Trek, watch all these franchises and love them. Indiana Jones. And what did we do? The first thing we did when our kids were old enough to understand what they were watching is sit their butts down on the couch and they watched it, you know, and watch it with us.
Right.
And we teach them to be Star Wars fans, Star Trek fans,
right.
franchise fans. Well, that's a critical part of it.
That's a huge part of it. Yeah.
I mean, without that, without the memories of people had sitting with their parents watching these things and enjoying it with their dad. This is the thing I did with my dad, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I watched Star Trek with my mom, you know, and that's something I'll always remember. That's special to me. It's right. It's one of the reasons. If she hadn't watched it, I wouldn't have watched it.
Right.
Right. And so that's something that they just don't even take into consideration. They just don't care.
Well, you see, and what's going to drive that is when there's something new to watch that the old fans like. Let's say there was new Star Trek that we all liked, aside from Picard season 3. And we're like, well, we start watching it. Our kids are like, what is this? And we're like, well, let me show you what I watched when I was a kid. I have not had that opportunity. Now, I did have the opportunity. I'm watching Chuck with my kids. I'm watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with my kids. But there's nothing new for me to show them in these top franchises that I grew up with that is not hyper virtue signaling or trying to push a message, or is just in general bad story writing. So I have no interest in it, which means that my kids are not going to catch me watching it, and that they're not going to develop their own interest in it. But they are developing interest in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and other things that I liked when I was young that are no longer going to happening now, you know?
I agree with you. And now here's she goes on to say, your overlords tried to hide behind the two opposing fan bases fighting each other instead of taking responsibility. So they encourage the hate, all while virtue signaling that and standing up for minorities, but instead using them as a shield and weapon. Funny enough, just how our government works. That's interesting. I don't want to get into the politics of it, but they think because it would not be pretty. They think people will forget, and yes, maybe they will, but for this moment, they have heard the people's voice and it shook them. Speaking of South Park,
right?
They're choosing to stick with their weak leadership who couldn't handle YouTubers saying mean things online, when all it would have taken is a true leader to step in, take the reins, take some responsibility, stop discriminating, apologize about the things that they have done wrong, step completely out of politics, be truly inclusive, and they'd be back in business. Well, I would include telling good stories as well. And Yeah. Until then, they're stuck with you, the yes men, and they're plummeting stock. Oh, that's so true.
You know what's crazy about that too is like so you said like good stories. This is a really good point. So they are doing everything that she's saying they are doing. But the worst sin they're committing out of everything here is they're not telling a good story. Because there are people in the middle that have no interest in complaining about any of their typical discriminating, political, virtue signaling, that will still let all that go and review and talk about and signal boost a good story. But because they're also not telling a good story anymore, and they're only doing that, the critics, the reviewers, the voices out there that normally would completely stay out of anything political, any kind of virtue signaling, and just talk about the story, have no story to talk about, and they're having to choose a side. They're having to speak about specifically what they're doing wrong because the story is so failing that that's not worth talking about.
Right. And the story is the socket wrench set.
Right.
Like the thing that we're buying is the story and the acting, the production. We're buying the result of what we get. We're not buying the politics. We're not buying the virtue signaling. We're not buying the diverse hires. We're buying a good story regardless of who's in the role.
Right.
And if you can't deliver that, I'm going to bring back my broken socket set and you're going to give me my damn money back.
You can give it back.
Okay. And that is simply how it works.
When Shane and I first started doing so Shane's been reviewing TV and movies for a very long time. And when we first started doing this, I'm like, hey, what about this, and this, referring to like this virtual signaling and this thing. He's like, you know what? Let's just stay away from all that. Let's just talk about the good stuff.
Yeah.
But then, and I'm like, are you sure? Like, this is like very zeitgeist. People are talking about, this in culture. And this is why some people have called us vanilla, because we are like, all right, we'll just stay away from any of the politics. We'll stay away from any of the drama of it and just focus on the story. But slowly, poor Shane has been blackpilled because the story is so suffering that there's nothing to talk about.
You can't talk about how good anything is because nothing's good.
So what's left to talk about is whatever's
the
bad.
Reason it's bad.
Right.
The only thing to talk about is the reason it's
bingo. So like when we first started the channel, like we're only gonna talk about stuff we like, and then slowly there's nothing left. There's nothing left to talk about. We're like, well, I guess we gotta talk about this Kathleen Kennedy thing. Damn it.
Well, yeah, because it's ruining the good stuff it used to be.
Right.
So that's the way it is. Last thing I want to say here about Gina, and I really love that she said this, is I'm not saying I'm right on all fronts, but I am open-hearted and refuse to discriminate based off of powerful people telling me how to think and act. And if there was something I needed to apologize for, I would have it in a heartbeat. But I didn't say or do anything wrong. People come up to me daily to shake my hand and thank me for taking a stand, even people who think differently. Now, this is the one difference. This is the one thing about Gina and everything that she's saying here that I would ask you to think about this. People who oppose her viewpoints, would they ever say, I'm not saying I'm right on all fronts?
Right.
Hell no.
Nope.
The one thing that the opposition to what Gina's saying says, they never admit to being wrong.
Never.
Ever, ever, ever. They never do anything wrong.
Nope.
They're a bunch of narcissists, right? And that's the difference, is it's reasonable to say, I may not be right.
Right.
But this is my viewpoint, and this is what I believe in. And the other side says, I'm never wrong, and you are always wrong.
Yeah.
And that is
you're
just the way
evil, I'm righteous, screw you.
Yes.
And you're like, yo, hold up, wait a minute. Let's have a conversation. I can't have a conversation with Nazis. You're like, whoa, when did we talk about Nazis? What are you talking about? That's
Right.
what happens, Scott. And then regular people who at some point considered themselves like Paul Chato, like Bill Maher, like half the, by the way,
liberals,
half the YouTubers you watch are classic liberals who didn't move. They just stayed right here where they were standing, and the goalpost moved so far left that they are somehow now right wing. Like people that never wanted to talk about any of this, that just they had their morals, they had their stance, and they're gonna hold on to it. Maybe they want to help people, but they don't want to help these people. They had ideas that were very classic for liberal ideas in the 90s are now full-on right-wingers. How is that? How did that happen?
So regardless of how, and you know how it happened,
Right? Because they didn't move, but the culture moved so far one way that the people that never moved are now stuck on the right wing of things.
Right. So looking at what she's saying here, you have to respect, whether you agree or disagree with her, you have to respect the fact that she doesn't insist that she is right about everything, because that tells you that there's room to discuss with someone. And if there's room to discuss ideas with people, then there's an opportunity to change and to grow. You can never grow if you're never wrong.
Right.
And that's the lesson.
You know what's interesting, by the way, is we can't see his post because it says you are unable to view this post because the account limits owners who can see their post, which means he blocked us.
He just wants.
This person has us blocked for some reason.
They just want to sniff their own farts, bro. They don't want to hear opposing viewpoints.
By the way, this person we've never even heard of has us blocked. Is that which means that there are block lists out there where people just wholesale block accounts that are on a list.
Or they've seen us and they don't like it.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Oh, and that's silly.
Or they don't like us on Twitter. It's possible too.
Yeah, whatever it is. Okay. Whatever the deal, it says, Matt Bader says Fetz blocks everyone. Oh, what's the point of being on a platform when you're just going to block everyone from viewing?
Smelling your own farts, bro.
Whatever. All right. Well, we're done with Gina Carano. Let us know what you guys think about everything in the comment section below. We're going to move on to the next topic. But specifically, can you tell us what you think her statements, were they inflammatory? Were they true? Well, give us your real opinion. And unlike some of the people that she was talking about, the extreme people on that side who want to hear no one's opinions, we are not those people. We want to hear your opinions. And in fact, we will not only hear your opinion, but we'll respond to it respectfully. And we would love to have a conversation. If you disagree or agree, we don't care. Let's talk. Do it in the comment section down below. We're moving on to the next topic. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Matt Bader says Shane is super toxic. So
you know it, baby. You know it.
Yeah, people they're like, how did you guys get demonetized? You guys are so chill, which is like another word for being like vanilla. And I'm like, I have no idea.
Well, you can speak truth, right? Sometimes it isn't about being toxic. Sometimes it isn't about saying nasty things about people. You just saying the truth and it being unpopular with the people in power, that'll get you demonetized. And that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, it's funny how our Paramount Global account, and I don't want to keep going on this, but like I think it's hilarious that our Paramount Global account also, we lost our screeners around the same time we were demonetized. I do believe that YouTube and some of these platforms, they have like an in with each other where they talk to each other about things.
Well, they've proved it. They proved it. Elon proved it when he took over Twitter, and he just talked about it recently, last week, in fact, where the level that the that the government and corporations are tied into social media and the access they have behind the scenes, that is incredible. He said it's disturbing how much they're working together. So it would absolutely not surprise me at all if Paramount had some inroads with YouTube where they could be like, yeah, let's just shut these guys down, and even though we're not, and it's easier to shut down guys like us because we're not huge.
Right.
If you notice the huge YouTubers, let me tell you, if Gary at Nerdrotic got shut down somehow for some arbitrary, stupid thing, he would be back up within days because they can't handle the heat from something like that. And
right.
We're going to get, people to come to our defense, but it's not going to move the peg if they demonetize us.
Right.
So what they do is it's like destroying, whatever the people in the front, right?
Right.
The smaller front ranks.
Yeah. The pawns, right? the cannon fodder.
Or
if they can get you early enough when your platform isn't evolved enough to argue with them, then they can sort of really cut your legs off before you have a chance to get running. And even though we have another channel that's big, it's not big enough. Like you need a good 1 million subs you need a healthy voice and a healthy community before you can put up a fight with YouTube when they completely rip away your entire income.
Yeah, and they will back down, generally speaking, if you're big enough,
Right?
Because they know that they're wrong. You can't get away with doing this. The reason why we're remonetized is really it's just like warning shots over the bow. Hey, this is what we're capable of doing to you. You better get in line.
Right. Which is weird that we're talking about that right now when we just got remonetized.
Well, if they demonetize us again, then I mean they're still wrong for doing it.
That's true.
It still is America. They still got free speech.
Yeah, like we talked about that too. Like when we finally got remonetized, and it was funny. Like we got remonetized the third time we reapplied, basically. The second the option came available, we reapplied, and it was like pretty much instantaneous. Which means, without changing anything on our channel,
nothing changed.
Just to be clear, we changed nothing. We just reapplied with 0 changes. Yeah. And was immediately accepted again. So you go,
it's just punishment. Just go stand in the corner. You're grounded for 2 weeks.
Right.
That's what it is. You're grounded or whatever, 6 months.
3 or 4 months. So Shane and I had a conversation. I'm like, well, what should we do to not get demonetized again? Because demonetization is not just, oh, you guys can't give super chats or no ad revenue, but it also really hurts your numbers. We are still at an average of minus 15 subs, subs gained every month. We are losing subscribers every month on our Unleashed channel. Now, it was really, really bad before when it was like minus 200 subs when we first got demonetized. But which
is weird. I don't know if you cull yours. I never cull my subscriber list. So I don't know like how are so many people unsubscribing from us?
Well, you always lose subscribers every month, but you usually gain a lot more than you lose.
But what I'm saying is it seems ridiculous or weird.
Well, this is what's weird, okay? We're getting 0 promotion, which means that because our channel, even though we're remonetized or back in the partner program, because this channel is not getting any promotion whatsoever, like you're not even getting notifications, folks. I checked. I got 6 accounts and I looked on every account. I didn't get a notification for this live stream, not one notification on one of my accounts. So I'm looking, I'm like, okay, so because we're not getting promoted at all, we're only seeing the normal loss of subscribers, and it's not our organic subscriber gain is not enough to outweigh the normal loss of subscribers.
So it's possible we were remonetized, but still kept on some sort of shadow list where we can't reach new people. No, I mean, well, think about it. If you wanted to do something to someone and get away with it, you say, oh no, you're monetized, everything's good. But then somewhere back in the algorithm, you can't reach new people. I mean, we are not reaching new people. We appreciate every one of you guys that are here. But if you watch the live show numbers, no matter how much the numbers never change. Right. So that means you folks who've been here with us for a long time, supporters for a long time, are our audience. And we don't generally have new people come and watch. Right. So we'll have to do it organically to get out there. But we're not going to stop saying what we think.
So that was the conversation we had. I said, so what should we do? Should we change up the way we do it? And Shane looked at me, he was like, F no. I think we should go even harder.
Yes, that's exactly how I feel.
He's like,
yeah, now I'm pissed.
We were pulling our punches before, but now that we got demonetized for playing fair,
right?
Then the cards on the table, bro, I don't even care. Let's go hard. And I'm like, I looked at Shane, I was like, F yeah. Let's go hard. I mean, listen, if we can get demonetized for being as chill as humanly possible, then you know what? What's the point?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Let's just go hard. Right?
Well, and then if we're not here, then it'll just be
whatever.
Not here. Yeah.
Whatever. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We're not like in the words of our hyper-based friends, Gary, I would rather lose my channel than be dishonest. When he said that, I already liked the guy, but that tweet made me love him.
Yeah.
I was like, that is so base, bro. Let's go.
That's who he is, man. Okay, can you do the super chats and then we'll move on to the next topic. Starting with Orville Nation.
I see it. Orville Nation, thank you, PJ. He says, time puts everyone in their place. That's true.
Well, the truth comes out eventually, right?
We'll be dead by the time. Yes.
It does. Well, things do change. Well, it's funny though. Time puts everyone. What's scary is, something that you did a decade ago that everybody was doing. If it got recorded 10 years later, it could get you fired. So,
right. That's so true.
Time really does put everyone in their place, doesn't it?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. James Gunn is an extremely liberal person, right?
Yeah.
And he almost got fired from Disney for joke tweets from like 15 years ago.
Wow.
All right. Kurtzman demonetized him. That's what he said too. No Money G for $10. Thank you, No Money G. No Money G coming through with the woo. He says, for the Popcast Unleashed tip jar.
Alms for the poor.
Alms for the poor. Oh, thank you. Thank you, No Money G.
Thank you, No Money G. Appreciate you.
Yeah. We need the money to pay this insane electricity bill.
Wait, it costs more for the electricity to run the show than you could ever make off of YouTube ads.
Oh yeah. YouTube ads pay almost nothing. Like super chats are like
that's it. Where
it's at. What's funny is like for I'm just judging by what they're predicting I'm going to pay this month in electricity. I need to make at least $237 in super chats to cover the electricity required.
Wait, and that's your lowest month.
That is literally my lowest month, bro. Is November. That's crazy. John Burns, another John Burns. I think John Burns says, gotta leave, have a Hollywood career to think about.
Can't hang out with us, John, if you want a career in Hollywood.
Jim, that was the last we saw of John Burns. Until he said, fuck it, I'm coming back with another super chat. And he goes, the hockey guy mentioned lots of YouTube bots. Yes, that's a thing too. So YouTube bots do get cold. They get removed sometimes. And so you might see subscribers drop when they were like bots that subscribe to everything or whatever, or people are like multiple accounts. I don't know.
Awesome. All right, my friend. Are you ready to move on?
Yeah. It's, what's funny is in case you guys don't believe us, can I just show them the subscriber count real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here we go. This is our back end for Unleashed. We've lost 12 subscribers in the last 28 days.
Yeah, well, and it was worse before. It was like the 28 days before that, it was like 77, I think.
Yeah, and the 28 days before that was like 200 and something.
Yeah, it's just like, so less people are leaving. I guess we're getting down.
So we're getting, which means that we're probably getting more people subscribing, which means maybe the system is starting to like give us some promotion again that we aren't aware of. But
or less people are culling. So
or it's already cold out of the bots. These are real people leaving now.
Right. So the only people watching are the real people.
Whatever, man. Okay.
All right. So let's talk about some Marvel Cinematic Universe, shall we?
Yeah. Let me set this up real quick. So there's a lot to talk about with this one because, the thing about Marvel is they have and we talked about this before, they have a major issue. Besides all the normal checkboxing, bad storylines, political issues they have, Jonathan Majors, which is their like next Thanos, the guy they've been setting up to be the guy, to be the next big bad, is having an insane amount of legal issues. And we've talked about this before, like maybe they're going to use Deadpool to kill their current plans or whatever, but there's so much more to this that they're considering reviving the original Avengers. Marvel is in a bad place right now. And if we always knew that it was bad, but this is really bad when one of their biggest shills, aka Variety, is listing all the problems.
Well, and I thought it was interesting because they obviously got, somebody spilled the beans from inside because it looks like that the annual Marvel retreat that they have in Palm Springs usually has like this cocky vibe But this year they were reeling from angst-ridden dread thanks to a disappointing year at the box office. And of course, what Brian just mentioned with the Jonathan Majors stuff adding poison to their well. Besides the Jonathan Majors, and you're watching Loki season 2 right now. And I'll be honest with you, I've had you say that it was good. I've had other people say that it was meh. And I've had other people say that it was no good and it's not doing anything.
I don't know, man. So, I think it's great. If like I said to you in that text, if they stick the landing on season 2 and they actually stick the landing and they don't leave us all with blue balls, it'll probably be the best TV show I've watched this year.
Okay, well, if that's the case, supposedly, and somebody from somebody who's already seen the ending of Loki season 2 says that Jonathan Majors is, it's solidified his role as Kang in the future of the MCU.
Oh, that's the opposite of sticking the landing.
So right, so the problem is how do you got a guy he's still going to court over the things that happen. He's insisting that he's innocent, right, but it's not looking good. Right. And this guy's going to be the anchor of your future.
And let's be clear. We don't know the whole story with Jonathan Majors. So we're not going to assume that he's guilty or innocent. He says he's innocent. Someone else says he's guilty. The point of this is not to actually take a side on whether or not Jonathan Majors is innocent or guilty. However, I tend, until the court system has done its thing, I tend to lean toward we're innocent every single time.
You should.
Innocent until proven guilty. If he says he's innocent, great.
It's just that it's not looking good.
But even if he's innocent, that doesn't matter. It's going to take years before he's given the green light of innocent or not. And if that's the case, MCU is in trouble because this is their next Thanos.
But it's not innocent till proven guilty anymore. It's guilty until proven innocent.
Right.
Especially in the court of public opinion.
Which means that he can't work until the society buys off that he's innocent, which is not going to happen anytime soon.
Right. Well, you don't. Yeah. I mean, if he's
dude, is this their latest magazine cover? I'm buying it if it is. I'm going to find the physical version of this. I'm going to buy it and I'm going to frame it.
Nice. I don't know if I want that framed on my wall, to be honest with you.
No, I'm gonna frame it next to their Endgame one, when the same one where they're praising Marvel for being the pinnacle of movie going experience.
Oh,
that I'm gonna put it right next to that one. 4 years later.
I mean, listen, you can't argue 32 movies and they've made $30 billion.
Right.
I mean, they are a money making giant, but the problem is, and even though they've had movies since COVID that have made a lot of money, like Wakanda's the second Wakanda movie and the Doctor Strange movie, which they both made a lot of money.
Multiverse of Madness, Mom.
They were also part of what's kind of shutting it down, and we're going to go through why we think that's happened. But first, we got to look at the movie that's coming up here next, The Marvels, which is releasing. I believe this week.
This week.
Yeah, next week it's releasing. It's looking to be a box office disaster with a $75 million anticipated opening.
Right.
And that's going to be tough for a $270 million budget movie, which is really more like $500 million after marketing.
Right.
There's almost, if this number is right, there's almost no way that the movie can catch up to what it needs to be unless it comes out and it's some sort of like revelation movie, incredible movie that gets a lot of word of mouth.
Yeah, it's not. That ain't gonna happen though.
Well, because the reality is that people are tired.
Oh wow! I guess I'm crazy. I guess it's already out.
No. There was a pre-showing. There's not. It's not officially.
I see. Yeah, so there is a pre-showing for the Marvels. I could have gone and seen it yesterday.
Yeah, they have. That happens almost every week now.
Yeah,
where
that's
you can
weird.
go pre-show it, which is weird.
Yeah, they shouldn't do that. They should just have the one release. Stop.
Yes.
Anyways.
And trailers that are less than 2 minutes. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I sort of agree with the 2 minutes thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Marvels, I was trying to look up that article. Last week we saw that they're looking at a $25 million opening when they're
75 million.
Sorry, 75. I think 75 million when their predictions were like 3 times higher than that initially.
Yeah, it's trouble. I mean, and honestly, who's saying, God dang, I got to go watch that movie. I got to go watch Nick Fury not being in charge or in control of anything once again. I mean, you watch him in some of these clips that they're showing. He looks like a befuddled idiot.
He does.
You know, and it's like, what do you do? Why are you dumbing down Nick Fury? It's there's weirdness going on here.
Yeah, this is the guy that we all loved, and they're like slowly making him like the butt of every joke, and he's just sort of around and there, and like all the respect for Fury is just completely gone. It's so weird.
So why is all this going down? So after, you know, the 2020 COVID thing, you got to remember Endgame ended huge,
right?
Like it was like the monster made over $2 billion. It was the movie. It was like the pinnacle.
Sorry.
And so when they started reeling from COVID, the park closures came, right? The movie theater shut down, and Disney started to get into a bit of a panic, and they launched Disney Plus.
Right.
Disney Plus came out, and they said, look, you know, we're losing all of this money. So you know what will never make us lose money? Superheroes. And they just went absolutely apeshit, creating streaming stuff and all kinds of superhero things. And it just oversaturated the market to the point of everybody. And plus all of the stories were just kind of meh. They weren't that good.
Right.
All the shows were just, it looked like the effort being put into them was not great. All of the special effects feel like they're not completely worked through.
Right.
They feel like people are half-assing it. And I think one of the big problems is that Feige, I don't know if he's getting tired. I think he might be getting tired after 32 movies and God knows how many shows.
That's why he came up with that weird Feige robot where he's just it's a Kevin Feige algorithm that's doing all the work now.
I mean, how even the most amazing people who do shit good all the time start to have trouble. I mean, can we go back and talk about Steven Spielberg and the number of fucked up movies he's made?
Right.
After so being true. Like the legend who created, you know, everything from, you know, E.T. and Jaws and, you know, all of the, you know, anyway, Jurassic Park, everything that he's done. That's amazing.
Remember him saying how good the Indiana Jones movie was going to be.
Right.
He said that. He's like, this is the best Indiana Jones movie I've seen. You're like, really, bro? Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, this is why only the good die young. Right. So when you're young, like if Kurt Cobain was still making music today, everybody would be like, yeah, Kurt who? But because he died young, it's like you capture this moment. So over time, you know, and I think this is happening with Feige, is he's losing the thread. I mean, he was the glue. He's the reason why this stuff is successful, because he put his hands into the product, and in post-production, he made sure that he was keeping the audience on the edge of their seats, and it was telling this kind of, you know, story that was going to cover across the entire MCU and keeping people intrigued at the end of each of these movies by adding cutscenes, right? And just building up the drama and the anticipation. I mean, this is the dude who came up with this stuff, really.
Yeah.
So now what?
Well, I was reading this article, and one of the top deal makers speaks, and it's too gold not to read. He says, Marvel is truly effed with the whole Kang angle, and they haven't had the opportunity to rewrite anything until recently because of the strike. But I don't see a path to how they move forward with him. So on that note, there is a path. This just proves that people ain't reading the comic books, because you can use the upcoming Deadpool movie to kill Kang.
Okay.
You can go with the
once again without anything happening and no story occurring. We're gonna kill off this character, a la Snoke, right?
Right.
From Star Wars. You're gonna do it, you know.
But to be fair, it would be on brand for Deadpool, who's already traveling the multiverse, right? To kill the multiverse, like kill the entire multiverse, kill the MCU. There was an actual book where he kills the MCU. Very fourth wall breaking. You need to rewrite Deadpool to kill off this whole Kang thing and restart the whole, the whole conundrum, the whole paradox.
Feels painful. You just saying it. Restarting it all sounds painful. The other thing they can do is just recast Jonathan Majors. They already did it with Terrence in Iron Man.
Right. But that was like one movie, right?
Well, still, you could recast him. I mean, there's got to be some, let's just bring Idris Elba. He does everything else. Put Idris Elba in there and let him be Kang, right?
Right.
I mean, I guess it may be kind of ridiculous.
If you guys ever want to see this book, go check out this comic book. Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe.
That's funny. I honestly don't even like the Kang storyline.
No, I don't either. Okay, and on that note, this is what's really bad about the Kang thing, is that remember when they showed us Thanos? Yeah. Thanos was like this force to be reckoned with. Do you you remember that? Mm-hmm. Like they showed us his hand. Fine, I'll do it myself.
Right.
And they slowly show like this force of nature that it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, because the first time you see Thanos, you're kind of like wondering how you feel about him, but it gets developed so well slowly. Yeah.
Right. And then Thanos is like this like massive character that you don't even know. You're like, how are our heroes going to deal with this? Right. With this menace. But here's what we have of Kang so far. We've now seen Kang killed 3 times. He was killed in Loki. He was killed in Ant-Man, right? I believe 3 times, maybe twice. We've seen him killed a bunch of times.
Well, there's hundreds, there's thousands, unlimited number of them.
But so far, we've seen him be defeated at least twice.
Right.
So I don't care how many there are. At this point, he's like cannon fodder. I don't how many do you have before like we're worried about?
You don't really care, right?
We don't really care about this character. He's been defeated twice.
Yeah.
Once was by accident. Okay, so I don't know. What do you want? This character is not that special. Maybe it was special. Maybe it was developed better in the comic books over such a long period of time that people had more of an opinion about this character. But at this point, this ridiculous character who has like millions of himself. They're having like their own, like, it's very Rick and Morty. Like, why is there a council of Kangs? Like, if they all fight each other, why do they get together and talk about how they're, and it's such a weird thing. It makes no sense. It's like you're trying to rip off Rick and Morty and the comic books.
Well, it came before the comic books.
I know. But
Rick and Morty.
But Rick and Morty did it better. I'm sorry to say.
Well, yeah.
So you have this multiverse, this character that no one really cares about. We've already seen him defeated twice. So how much of a threat is he? You haven't shown us yet his actual, what he's capable of. In fact,
that's true.
Everything we've seen is him being beat.
Yeah. Well, so maybe they should kill him off.
Right.
But then they got to know where to go after that. And guess where they go after they kill off Kang?
Back to the originals.
Because nothing smells more of desperation than having to go back to the well, to the original people who got it all started, and have another Avengers movie.
Right.
Including reviving everyone who died in Endgame.
Break glass in case of emergency. And there's like a picture of Robert Downey Jr. there.
Right. Well, what's funny is Robert Downey Jr. already told us what it would take for him to come back as Iron Man.
Right.
And it's not new. It's something he said back a little while back. So things may have changed.
He was talking to Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah, exactly. But what he said at that time was there would have to be a super compelling argument and a series of events that made it obvious, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is dying.
Right.
And only person who can save it is Iron Man.
I remember Joe Rogan had like an idea for him. Like, what if dude, like, he's like, listen, dude.
That was a funny interview.
Listen, it doesn't really work without you. So like, let's talk about how we get you back in there. Like Joe Rogan was like,
he knew
prophetic that he's like, doesn't work. So like, let's figure out a way to get you back in there. So this is my idea. And he came up with this like crazy multiverse way of getting him back in there.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to use Joe Rogan's idea. Okay, guys, go back to that Joe Rogan interview. What was his idea? Let's go with that.
Yeah. Well, they broke everything in Endgame, in my opinion. All of the way the spreading of the universe, the whole multiverse thing sucks. But basically, Robert Downey Jr. said the other thing is I want to do other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So some of those other things, he was in Oppenheimer, and arguably one of the best things in Oppenheimer.
Sure.
And so, has he done enough other stuff that he would be willing to come back? Money talks, I'm sure.
Right.
But I don't think he wants to destroy his Iron Man legacy, which is at this point impeccable. Like, he's the most impeccable superhero.
Right.
He's the only Iron Man who's ever been. Robert Downey Jr., the only Iron Man. Not been a ton of Supermans, ton of Batmans. There's one Iron Man. So
wait. What about the new Iron Man that was, and I quote, black and gay,
and made it lame,
and definitely made it lame. On her helmet, her helmet had like built-in armor for her cornrows.
Well, okay, yeah. So that was not Iron Man. That was Ironheart, a completely different character.
But that's the new Iron Man. Because they skipped over Brody. They skipped over the War Machine and just went with a completely other character because Kathleen Kennedy was like, wait, Kevin, it's not gay enough.
Just Kevin, the Force is female.
It needs to be
iron is female.
Black, woman, and gay. Get that going, Kevin. You're not on board with what we're doing here.
Yeah. Well, and we know that you got to get on board. But the thing is like we've had Superman made a bunch of times, rebooted. We've had Batman rebooted a bunch of times. But Iron Man is only one run. And so I don't know if Robert Downey Jr. wants to come back and risk changing his historical legacy for a little bit of cash when let me tell you, he gets top dollar. If he does a movie, it don't matter what it's going to be. He's going to get paid a lot of money to do it.
Though, and as well as I know, that right now, this is what Robert Downey Jr. is hearing.
I don't even know if it matters.
He's hearing like down it's such a big truck. They had to start it like 3 blocks away. And it is traveling slowly down his street backwards to just dump an Olympic pool size of money into his garage.
But when you have as much money as he has, is it about that or is it about your legacy? Like, do you take a chance to ruin what you've made before? I would argue that he's one of the great, movie stars of our time still. Yeah.
I don't know. I do.
Him and Tom Cruise.
I do believe that given enough, a big enough check, anyone will come back and you know what? Maybe it's not just the check. Maybe it's like this much money and I get creative control of the character.
Does he need?
Or I get say in the script or whatever. I get to pick who's.
He gets say in the script, regardless.
Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe.
No, I mean, I'm sure he does. I mean, I'm sure Kevin Feige gets the final say, but I would be shocked if he didn't get some sort of say in the script. And I don't know how much he wants to have say in the script. Robert Downey Jr. isn't writing scripts. His character has already, been written very well. It's been performed very well. I just would say, if he's going to make $10 million to do the next Oppenheimer movie, and they're going to offer him $20 million to be Iron Man, just go do a few other things that you want to do and don't destroy your legacy as Iron Man.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. So we would go back and watch. Granted, we would definitely go back and see another Avengers movie.
100%. Right? Yeah.
We would look forward to it. It'd be great.
Yeah, no question.
But let me ask you the next question. Then what?
Another one.
No, that won't work. You can't just keep doing them.
Yeah, that's one.
Okay, it won't work. You'll get
as long as Robert Downey Jr. is in it. Just keep going.
You can't. I don't think that would be the case.
Until he's
I think maybe you get 2.
Maybe he's 90 and let's put him as the voice now, and we can have a young guy come up behind him.
No. None of that works because you get tired. You get tired of bullshit. Listen, you can do a cool little scam thing on people. You can trick people once, right? But there's just not more story to be told.
I can tell you this: the only I was never a Marvel guy. I was always a DC guy, and then I saw Iron Man, and that put me square in the camp of I can actually love both these things. I built this Ironheart thing that someone gave me. It was really hard to put together because I loved that character so much. You can continue the legacy of Iron Man without Robert Downey Jr., but it has to be a handoff. to an actor that can pull the same kind of emotions out of you that RDJ does.
I disagree. I don't think you can hand off. I think you need a period of time where the one actor is no longer Iron Man, and then you have another actor, a la Superman. You cannot just swap Supermans quickly, right, as we're about to find out.
We're about to find out. Yep.
I feel like this new Superman. There ain't no hype about this.
To be fair, we all like Brandon Routh, but
no. But okay, but there was still a pause between Superman. See what I'm saying? So
right.
There was time for us to go, okay.
Not much time.
See a new Superman.
Not much time.
Well,
if Brandon Routh was a failure, in like 4 years later, Henry Cavill came up right behind him.
Well, I'm talking about from Christopher Reeves to Brandon Routh.
Right. There's a lot of time between.
A lot of time.
That's true.
So you're willing to allow someone to become, honestly, if the story had been better, it would have been fine.
Right. I don't think it's actually Brandon Routh's fault that movie didn't have failed. I believe that it was them not understanding that we are now in 2006 or whatever. This is not 1985 anymore. You got to update your character. Brandon Routh, there should have been, a Henry Cavill Superman was a perfect update. There was
hit for that time. Yes.
For that time, right? And Brandon Routh was still emulating Christopher Reeves all the 1985.
But he didn't have the charm that Christopher Reeves.
He didn't have the charm. He didn't, and I know that's unfortunate because I think Brandon Routh is a great actor.
Well, he grew into being a better actor,
right?
But at the time,
he wasn't as good as he is now. That was like his first big role.
Yes, and when he got to Chuck, all of a sudden you saw, oh, okay, I see.
Right, and then he's doing Legends, and he's like this really great. And then he finally got to reprise his Superman role for one episode of like the Flash multiverse, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's him!" Right. Where was that excitement for the movie? No one watched.
Well, yeah, of course. And now you got this new kid coming in that nobody knows anything about, and we're still have a hangover for our Superman, and so it's going to be tough to have success there. Having an Iron Man come in, could you introduce somebody soon? Yeah, but if you bring back Robert Downey Jr., you can't in a year or two change, bring in a new Iron Man. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I just listen. I love RDJ, not just as Iron Man. I've liked him since Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Everything he's ever done is fun.
Chaplin, great.
He was the best part of Oppenheimer, a movie which I did not like. Agreed. Honestly, I didn't like them. Sorry, I know it's sacrilege not to like that movie. I didn't like it. It was boring.
Nobody
it was
says
slow.
It's sacrilege for you not to like the movie.
Everyone acts like it's some kind of perfect movie.
It was a well-made movie. It was a good
movie. I didn't like it. It was boring as hell.
Well, boring. You don't like movies that have layers.
Look, that's not true. Okay, screw you.
Sorry.
First off,
I want to say that
the second you said that, I knew you were like, I shouldn't have said that. Look, you had RDJ in an incredible role. You had a very nude, whatever her name is, which I find incredibly attractive. Look, this movie should have been great for me. I should have enjoyed it. But there was so much talking. There was so much dialogue.
Right.
That it was like, am I watching a TED Talk or a radio drama? Like, what's happening? Show me something, for the love of God.
I could imagine you standing up in the theater going, for the love of God, show me something.
I almost did. And right before I did, the nude chick appeared for like 6 minutes.
You were good.
And then I was distracted for like 6 minutes. And then I went back to hating it. Look, all I'm saying is this. Like, I like the actor. I like everything he's been in. Even like Dr. Dolittle. Like, I think he is an incredibly...
I didn't like that one.
I'm not talking about the movie. He is an incredibly charming person, and he's
Sherlock
able.
Holmes.
What?
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, he's great in Sherlock Holmes. I'm sorry, you didn't like that movie?
It was okay,
bro.
I didn't love it.
He was great in Sherlock Holmes, although he doesn't strike me as an English person, which sort of effed it up. I'm gonna be honest with you. He does a really bad English impersonation. I didn't buy it for a second that he was an Englishman. And when someone says to me Sherlock Holmes, I think Englishman.
Yeah.
I don't think Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
But he did a really good job either way. I liked him a lot. I've always liked his performances, even if he's just himself. I don't give a shit. He does a good job. He's a charming,
he's a black man in Tropic Thunder,
or he's a black guy in Tropic Thunder. Which that interview he did with Joe Rogan, he's like, when I first did it, and I told my mom, she was like, I don't think this is a good idea, Robbie. I don't like this idea. This is gonna be bad for you. And he goes, I was pretty stoked that everyone was mad at Ben Stiller for Simple Jack, and they forgot about me.
Right. That was funny. Yeah.
But look, I think he's great, and I want to see him in more stuff. I don't want to typecast him, but to be honest, I think Robert Downey Jr. is already typecast as Robert Downey Jr. Right? The same as with Jason Momoa. Tom,
oh, I'm sorry. You can't put.
No. They're not. I'm going extreme. I'm going extremes here. Okay. What about oh my God, Mission Impossible guy? I'm forgetting his name all of a sudden. Tom Cruise. Like these people, they're the roles that they're playing though. Keanu Reeves. They are not playing like other characters. They are playing roles that were like written for them.
Right.
Robert Downey Jr. is a very good actor who is clearly trying to get out of the "you made this role for me," and he's doing stuff like Dr. Dolittle and fucking Oppenheimer. I mean, he's trying to do things that are like more dramatic or stretch his acting abilities, but himself is such a likable, charming person that there's always going to be a movie where they're like, we're writing this for Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, well, there's you see a glimpse of who he is. You're going to go all the way back to the Rodney Dangerfield movie,
right?
Where Back to School, and you can see the glint in his eye. There's a thing about Robert Downey Jr. There's like, he's got a kind of a glint thing going on, and that's in every one of his characters. And if you take that out, you take away the spark that is him,
right? But, that little that he has like this, like almost sarcastic wit that is so clever and such something you want to see in every one of his movies.
True.
Anyways, enough about RDJ. Bottom line is they're going to have to change it. And the way they're changing it is they're thinking about bringing back the whole crew. Even then, though, they're going to have some kind of bridge to get there. And in my opinion, I'm going to stop here and let Shane finish it out. The only bridge to get back to the original Avengers, even if you can possibly get RDJ back on board, the only bridge back to the Avengers, in my opinion, is Deadpool. That's the only way you do it. You gotta go back to the comics, let Deadpool kill the Marvel Universe, and shrink it back to its original timeline. And if you do that, you can pick and choose. Take all the best things people like and leave all the garbage and everyone hates on the cutting room floor, because that's how multiverses work. They're madness. You can pick and choose the stuff you like, but have them kill the multiverse. We have to kill the multiverse. We have to. We got to kill the idea of it, have one timeline, and keep all the stuff that works and leave everything else behind. And one thing that 100% worked, in fact, I would say the thing that started this whole thing off was Robert Downey Jr., but you're going to have to dump that truck up, and you're going to have to give him a really good reason to do it. That's my opinion.
So do you bring him back in a way that Endgame didn't happen? So do you do the Avengers like pre-Endgame, and so like have it in a universe where none of that happened? That would be interesting.
See, I don't think that Robert Downey Jr. would be about deleting that sacrifice, but he would.
Well, no, it doesn't delete it, but you can't bring him back without screwing everything up.
Well, no, you can if you don't bring that RDJ back, but you let's say
That's what I'm saying.
Let's say this. Let's say Deadpool goes, look, I got to defeat Galactus or something crazy. I need to go find the best, and he gets access to the multiverse, which he had. He had access to the multiverse in the last Deadpool movie. If you recall, he went back and killed a version of himself. Do you guys remember that? So he even saw it as Ryan Reynolds' doppelganger, and he killed him for writing Green Lantern. All right,
that was funny.
Yeah. So if he has access to the multiverse and he goes, I'm going to find the best to help me deal with this Galactus issue or whatever it is, this issue that I am incapable of solving. Maybe he dies like 400 times and he figures out he's got to find people to help. He goes to multiverse and he finds, like, say, the superior Iron Man, which is Robert Downey Jr. at his best. It's like he's in his like silver armor, and You know, it's something that we haven't seen yet that everyone always wanted to see, but killing him off in Endgame made it incapable for us ever seeing that evolution of that character. The ultimate Iron Man, the Iron Man that is so superior that he's almost a god with technology. Let's get that version. Let's go back and get this version of the Hulk, whatever. Like you can go back.
I just don't know if they're smart enough. I just don't know if they can do that.
But in the process
it's a great
of doing
idea.
that, because you rip out so many people out of those timelines, like they literally fold up. Like the multiverse is folding.
I love the idea of what you're saying. I just don't know if, we always talk about these ideas that are really great, and then they just never do them.
Right.
So great idea, but
AKA the Romulan started the Borg. Our video has millions of views.
Oh, yeah.
It was a great idea. Yeah, Shane, you wrote that idea. That was all you, baby.
But
to this day, I'm mad that they didn't do that.
That's not how it worked.
It should have.
It should have been.
It should have been. Like all the pieces were there. Go back and look at every episode. This is the only way to do this, and it makes the most sense. But you know what? No. Let's instead not do any of that.
Yeah.
Let's do the complete opposite. Let's do something that's going to disappoint fans the most. It's like
that's what you should predict. What will disappoint us the most? And that's what they'll do.
Oh yeah. Oh, so Picard's a robot. That's disappointing. That's what they'll do right there. Write it down.
Yeah. So Iron Man. So how could they disappoint us the most by bringing back Iron Man?
Yeah, they go back in time and they get Iron Man before he made the sacrifice. Which makes it so he doesn't make the sacrifice. Yes. They retcon the greatest comic book movie that's ever existed.
Yes, that's how they do it.
This is the best way to disappoint us. Retcon Endgame.
Yeah.
The movie that almost everyone will unilaterally agree is the pinnacle of superhero cinema. Let's retcon that.
Well, close. Yeah.
That's what they'll do. That's 100% what they'll do. And then when they do, he'll also be gay.
And they'll put a chick in it and make it lame.
Right.
Yes, 100%. Thank you, South Park.
Let's
get to super chat before.
All right. Well, that's
let us know what your opinion is, and thank you guys for watching. We'd love to hear your thoughts on bringing back everything we talked about. Are you going to watch the Marvels? Did Disney make a big, boo-boo by going all in on Disney Plus and superheroes? And of course, do you want the original Avengers to come back in a movie? And what does that mean for the future? Let us know in the comments section and give us your theories. How do you think they're going to solve the Kang problem? Right. Give us your theories. The best theory we'll read it live on this show next week. Oh, I like that idea. Yeah. All right. See you there. Super chats. Hey, by the way, everyone, can someone tell me when I'm blurry as fuck, please? Because when you're who? I was so blurry. I need glasses and I don't wear them on the show because you can see the reflection. So I didn't realize how blurry it was until my wife texted me and said, "You are super blurry." Wow. What's funny is I see us on a completely blurry pre-screen in the back end of our software, and so I always look blurry. You guys, if you guys see that I'm blurry, let me know. I adjust it, and now my image is very sharp. But before, it was like this is what it looked like before. It was like this before the whole time. See, that looks the same to me. Oh my god! So I can't do. Let's do these super chats really quick. Okay. Okay, it's John Burns for $2.79. Dave Bautista's got James Gunn's back. That's true. Yes, he does, but who has Dave Bautista's back? No, you know what's funny though? Someone said that James Gunn is like right wing. People do believe that James Gunn is very right wing, but I gotta tell you guys. Well, he's just where he ended up. That's just where he ended up. He was not right wing before. He was an extreme, almost extreme, like liberal leftist. And now people think that he's a right wing guy because he's just sort of talking about like common sense stuff, which is sort of crazy. Well, yeah. I mean, I like to say when people ask me what my political affiliation is, I like to say I'm libertarian. When in reality, I'm not really sure what I am, but I'll tell you, it's like the closest thing I identify is please leave me alone. well, please leave me alone. I want to be free. I was born in a country where they told me that we had freedom of speech. and freedom of our own thoughts and all that stuff, as long as we don't hurt other people. And that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, so I'm all about freedom of speech. I will defend it till my dying breath, no matter how many times you demonetize us. But I also don't want to be bothered. And if that makes me right wing now, I don't know what to tell you. Like I don't ever consider myself a right wing person until everyone started telling me, "Wait, you want freedom of speech? That's right wing." Like what? How did we get here? How did we get to like freedom being a right wing thing?
Well, the problem is any white man who doesn't do left wing talking points is a right wing person.
That's just silly, bro. Silly.
That's the way it works.
And it was, I remember a time when everyone thought James Gunn was an extreme leftist who like made jokes about Christians and abortion and stuff. Like everyone, like, and now it's like, oh, he's right wing.
Yeah, the thing about Dave Bautista is I don't like his attitude towards The Rock and John Cena. Dave thinks he's like some Shakespearean actor.
Right.
You're not, dude. You're a fucking wrestler, and you got in movies. Congrats. I've seen your movies where you try to be serious. It's not good.
Doesn't work, bro. David is
neither like John's, by the way.
I don't want to go down the route of John Cena and The Rock. Like I'm trying to be more of a thespian, and you're like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? Take your shirt off and grunt and shut up.
Make us laugh, monkey.
Make us laugh, you monkey. Look, there's a place for the wrestler turned action star. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
They're funny, right? They're actiony, and they're not serious. No wrestler is serious. John Cena, when he's serious, sucks. The Rock, when he's serious, sucks. Then Dave Bautista, when he's serious, and because it's funnier that he's trying, he sucks.
Right. Yeah. So, you want to see John Cena's face when he's serious? Here's John Cena's face when he's constipated. Here's John Cena's face when he's happy. It's always the same thing. There's no difference.
The difference is the material is made funny, so therefore it's funny.
The only thing that ever changes is when he's funny. Is when his smile is what changes. And he does. He has. I watched Vacation Friends the other day. Yeah, that movie was great.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh my god. When they were like shooting the cans off each other's heads or whatever. Yeah. And then it cuts to him and he has a bid. So he goes, whoa, that went crazy, right?
Right.
That movie's really funny. It's really funny.
Everything that dude's done that he's funny in is good. And what is not funny? Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious 9, where he's like
being serious.
Where he's somehow playing Vin Diesel's brother and no one buys it. There isn't a single person in the audience that is like,
who are your parents?
See the resemblance. One's like 5'9" and clearly like African American or something, or Puerto Rican, and the other guy is like 6'7", a Viking god. You're like, how the fuck are these people related? Oh, and then they got Vin Diesel like on an Apple box, which is like, that's what they called it back in the 50s because they used actual Apple boxes.
It literally was an Apple box.
Right, but now they call them that even though they're just step stools. So they got him on a step stool so that he can look face to face with him. And you can tell he's on a step stool the whole time. It's even worse when they try to do the perspective thing because they don't want to use a step stool because they're like, look, we know people are going to be like, look, Vin Diesel is 5'9" and this guy's 6'7". So we'll do perspective. So that's what they do. They put Vin Diesel really close, and they put John Cena or The Rock farther away, but they're looking opposite directions, so it looks like they're looking at each other when they're talking, and you're like,
you know what's funny is John Cena is only 6'1", which is my height, but The Rock is 6'5". So those scenes where The Rock had to do with
looking at Vin Diesel.
Fucking 2 Apple boxes, bro.
That's 2 Apple boxes.
You're climbing a ladder to get up to that shit.
Yeah, look at this.
It's like Dolph Lundgren and Sylvester Stallone in Rocky IV. Like, you gotta climb a ladder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, no, what they did was they used the perspective trick, but it's such an extreme perspective because there's such extremely different heights. Like, here we go. I'll show you. Here we go.
Right, yeah, that's it. Look how far away The Rock is.
The Rock is like 3 feet away.
And literally, if you look at Vin Diesel, he's trying not to fall off his ladder.
Right.
He's like,
so Vin Diesel is on a step, like on a porch. and he's like 3 feet closer to the camera. For some reason, they're not looking at each other. They're looking in like opposite directions, but they're having a conversation. They're like, "I'll see you around." And he's like, "Not if I see you first." And you're like, "What the F is, who has this conversation this way?" And is The Rock staring at a wooden wall?
No, he's actually behind the house. We just can't tell from the way it's being shot. He's actually 40 yards away because Vin Diesel's the size of a mouse. Yeah, I'm sorry. We don't mean to short shame here. But,
it's really funny, bro. It's really funny because like
I'm sorry. Everything about Vin Diesel is just a joke.
Here's the other side.
Stop. Just stop. This is... These guys are talking to each other face to face.
Here's the other way it's shot.
Dude, Vin Diesel looks like a child. He looks like a baby with a bald head and all. Look at him.
Somebody corrected the perspective.
He needs to caress him and like burp him or something here.
Oh my God, that's so funny, bro.
Oh, that's great.
The funniest thing I've ever witnessed in a movie theater, and I'll be straight up about this, is in Fast X when he's talking to Letty, his like wife or whatever, and I still don't even know how they got married or what. I don't care.
Are they married? I don't even,
yeah, they're married.
Brother and sister.
And like the shot goes to a shot on the wall of of their wedding.
Oh my God, dude.
And everyone's in like appropriate wedding attire, and he's wearing a white
beater
and white pants.
Yeah.
Dude, I lost it. My wife was so mad at me because I was like, ah!
You must ruin the theater experience.
It's supposed to be it's a super serious moment with like their kids in danger. And I'm like, did anyone see that? That was a white beater. And I'm laughing my ass off. My wife's like, shut up. Oh, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I love Fast and Furious movies because I've never walked out of there and not been so entertained by how stupid and elaborately ridiculous everything is. It's so great.
Fast 10 did me in. I just the Jason Momoa thing just hurt me. Jason Momoa acting like can't even. Jason, I don't. What did he do? Like,
Jason Momoa,
so bad.
He had a pacifier in his hair.
It's like a crazy.
He's in Rio or whatever, and he's like, he walks up, he's like, "What's up, the Vin?" Whatever the hell his name is in the movie, I don't know. What's Vin Diesel's name in the movie? Dom. He's like, "Hey, Dom, is you gonna race?" He's like, they have to get a race in here somehow because it's Fast and Furious. So like he's sitting there with guns pointing at this elaborate terrorist who has committed genocide on 3 continents. And now this guy has like, his hair is braided with pacifiers and like all kinds of weird glow sticks, like he's at a fucking rave. And he's like, "Are we gonna race or what?" And there's supposed to be this serious moment, and the whole time I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Dude, he's like a villain from one of those spoof movies.
It was so funny. It was like this weird take on like the Joker.
It was not funny.
None of it made sense.
It was wrong.
Bro,
the right word is it was wrong.
The dead guys, when he's like having tea with the dead guys.
What was up with that? Like,
it's perfect.
I'm sorry.
It was
we can't do that.
Perfect. It was perfect, and I'll always love you, Jason Momoa.
It was perfectly awful. Okay, John Burns for 279.
Someone said like, "Did you know Jason Momoa ad-libbed a lot of his lines?" They're like, "Yeah."
Yeah, no shit.
We all knew that.
Pretty obvious.
We figured that out in the trailer.
We're like, oh, they're just let him go. I see. Okay.
It was funny because like there was one of those factoids before the movie where it was talking about like facts of the movie, and you're like, oh, that's not good. I love Jason Momoa, but like he needs a writer.
he needs to follow the script.
Oh, it's great.
John Burns for 279. Ryan Gosling in the Fall Guy trailer. Well done, John. Thanks for throwing that out. I got to tell you, the Fall Guy trailer with Ryan Gosling was really damn good. It was
Really?
a minute and a half, probably 2 minutes too long for certain. But I got to tell you guys, Ryan Gosling is like, the dude's the reason. He's the answer. Like that, he is just a great actor. And this movie looks entertaining as hell.
Is he the next Iron Man?
No, Ryan Gosling doesn't have that kind of character. Like he's a great actor, but he couldn't play. I don't think he could play a billionaire playboy. You know, the time that he plays those kind of characters, like I didn't really like him that much in Blade Runner 2049, whatever. But when he plays like the Barbie movie, like Ken, and in this movie, have you seen the trailer yet for the Fall Guy?
I haven't seen it.
Oh Jesus, yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, I just looked it up. I saved it in my favorites.
It comes out in March or May, and maybe we can watch that trailer in the members section. Okay, can we? Can we do that?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
And then we'll talk about it there. Okay.
We also got. I forgot about this because I wasn't looking at the right screen, but we also got a members chat from Son of Johnny. He said, "Hey, I'm on break at work. Just want to say thank you." Oh. Thank you. And from Kenneth the Roke, who said, "Made it home from work. Hi guys and chat."
What's up, Ken?
So we do have a members section on their channel. You can click on the link in the description to find that if you guys want to become a member. After this next story, we're actually going to go there for the remainder of the show. Yes.
But a couple more super chats really quick. John Burns for $2.79. Thank you, John. It's what happened to Thanos is what happened to Thanos similar with the Borg. To not go too deep into it, sort of like the Borg was very scary at first. Like initially the Borg was, when we realized that like the Enterprise could do nothing but get its ass kicked by the Borg cube that it run into when Q like threw them across the galaxy or whatever. We were immediately terrified of the Borg. The Borg actually worked in opposite. Like Thanos actually, to me, got more and more dangerous, whereas the Borg got less and less scary over time.
Right.
I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember they tried to correct that by introducing the Queen.
Right. Well, no, the Queen was because they didn't feel like the movie that they were making was, and we did this in our, if you haven't seen our breakdown of all the Star Trek movies, like the official ranking across the world, there's a great one. And it talks about during First Contact where it was actually a producer, I think, that made the call. No, the studio made the call to add a Borg Queen. So that way Jean-Luc Picard could play off of another character specifically and not the Borg as a whole. And that actually made the Borg less scary, I think.
Oh, yeah, I think it did too.
Yeah.
Although I really like the Borg Queen. I'm torn on that because I like the Borg Queen, but.
Well, it's not about whether it's good or bad. It's about whether it's scary or not scary or dangerous or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know a lot of people don't like this, but I feel like the Borg Queen was actually necessary. And I know that's sacrilegious to a lot of Trekkies, but I feel like it worked. And
it went from there being a hive mind to one person controlling all the Borg.
But it makes sense if they're like a hive mind, like ants or bees or whatever. Like these things always have queens.
Like it's a logical conclusion, but it takes away the whole mindlessness of it, which is the scary thing. I don't know. You know, it all worked out in the end.
Right. Also from John Burns, Liev Schreiber needs to reprise his Sabretooth.
He was so good.
Yeah, I would have said that until I found out how effing insane Liev Schreiber is. So,
I mean, he's crazy.
Excuse my French. If you have kids in the room, close their ears. Ready? Fuck Liev Schreiber.
All right. You got to have more context than that.
No, he's nuts.
Okay, but you're leaving it out there.
He transitioned his 6-year-old son.
Okay,
that's insane.
That is nuts.
He's 6 years old, man. Come on, dude.
Should he not be able to be in movies as a result?
No, I just don't support him anymore because that's insanity. It's insane to put your 6-year-old child on hormone blockers. That's
I agree,
insane.
But that's his family and his choice. And I, as my libertarian stance would tell you, he ain't affecting me.
Also, I hate how much my wife likes him in Ray Donovan, okay? I'll be real with you.
Well, Ray Donovan's good.
Look, Ray Donovan is not that good, all right?
It's good.
And baby, if you're watching, stop watching that show, please. I'm so tired of waking up to Ray Donovan's voice. I'm so tired of it.
Okay, but he was great as Sabretooth, and I'm gonna tell you, he was scary. Like you believed he was gonna do harm as that character. That's what you want. That's what you expect.
Really, I just don't like how much my wife likes Liev Schreiber.
Sounds like it. Well, she probably doesn't like it, how much you like
Jason Momoa.
So
you were about to say Aquaman?
I did. I almost said Aquaman.
I do think it's weird though. Like, I think it's. Look, I'm not against anything trans. Do whatever you want, but like kids can't do that stuff. Like you got to wait until they're old enough.
I agree. You should definitely wait till your kids are old enough to decide for themselves.
And they're not old enough to decide at 7 years old because when they're still trying to figure out if they like cows or giraffes more. You know, like, come on.
Right. But I'm not going to go to your house and tell you don't do that to your kid. Like I'm not like that. So
that's true.
You know, if you want to fuck up your kid for the rest of their lives, then that's on you.
That's on you.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Like that's how I feel about it. So it's like, don't do it because it's stupid. But if you're going to do it, you know, you're going to pay.
Yeah, it's none of my business. You're right. That's true.
No Money G for $10. Thank you, No Money G. Do you think bringing back the old gang Avengers is grasping at straws at this point? I'm really bummed out, and it was a great ending for Marvel Phase 1 through 3. New phases I just don't care about anymore. Just me. No Money G. You and I, exact same thought.
Yeah.
Like you are in my brain right now because I feel the exact same way you said about all of that.
Yeah.
It's grasping at straws. We've already closed that out. We've told that story. It's done. They don't need to come back. And the new phase sucks because, you know, put a chick in it, make it gay and make it lame.
Right.
And honestly, the stories are not that good.
Stories aren't good. So, the problem is not if there's a chick gay and lame. That just
not really for Avengers, not really.
That's just sort of the go-to.
That's Disney's problem.
Yeah, the real problem is that the stories suck. And you actually saw that starting to happen in Endgame. And I'm sorry, but it does suck when you try to focus solely on one specific gender or something. It's so transparent and it takes you out of the story.
Yeah, it's transparent. Yeah.
Remember that moment when they're like, when I like this character, Elizabeth Olsen's character. What's her name? Scarlet Witch.
The Scarlet Witch. Yeah.
Yeah. Scarlet Witch was like, she like grabbed Thanos and she's like, "I'm gonna make you pay for what you did." And remember, this Thanos has no idea who this person is.
Right.
And he's like, "I don't even know who you are."
Right.
Which made it even worse because she is so angry at Thanos for killing the person she loved. And Thanos is like, "Who the hell are you?"
Right.
Right. And so she gets angry and she's like, and she like does her powers and it's powerful. And you're like, "Oh yeah, go Scarlet Witch." And at the same time, like, go Thanos, because Thanos is like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Right. Yeah.
Which was funny. And then Oliver, he's like, "I don't know who, you can't do something alone," or whatever he said. And all of a sudden, it's like Pepper Potts, who, by the way, last movie was an accountant. I don't know how she's already in the Iron Man suit.
Yeah, stupid.
Another chick from Wakanda with her stupid power blasters. She's like 37 pounds wet.
Yep, Thor sidekick.
Yeah, and all these side chicks are like she's not alone. And you're like, what the F?
Well, you had that girl power moment, which they wanted to have.
It was dumb.
Where they all sweep in together, and that was a stupid part of the movie. And not because you had women characters, but because you didn't find a way to fucking organically incorporate them into your movie so that they kicked ass. Like the moment with Scarlet Witch where you're like, go, right? But then you got to have this, agenda. Like as soon as it becomes transparent, you're like, well, fuck that part of the movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's terrible.
It went from like, Scarlet Witch is a badass to like, what? Come on.
Oh, come on, man.
And so you have all these great moments, but like this little moment right between that just complete. And honestly, if there hadn't have been that, if Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man had not saved the day.
Yeah, 100% true.
I would have walked out of that theater pissed.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Like, I don't care what you give me. He's got to be the one to save the day. And if it was Captain Marvel,
we talked about it. We were worried Captain Marvel would save the day.
And when the moment when she came like, "Who's that?" and she's coming there, and you're like, "Oh hell no! You better not make her the one who saves the day." I'm gonna be so pissed if she's like the savior. And not chick that came out 3 months ago,
right? And not because a girl can't save the day, but because she didn't earn it.
Right. We didn't even know
and
who
they
she
shoved her in
was.
between two movies,
Right.
Infinity Wars and Endgame, where she got shoved in there and made almost $1 billion.
Her movie came out in February, and Endgame came out that same year in like July or something.
Right. Yeah.
It was like a few months. Like, you cannot introduce a character a few months before this 15-year saga and have her be the one saving the day. That doesn't work.
And to their credit, she didn't.
You're right.
So so they dodged a bullet.
Right. No. So here's the deal. Had you have started that whole female empowerment agenda thing, and then had her save the day, you would have ruined 15 years of movies for me.
Yeah. And yeah.
And we would
almost did.
Right. And they almost did. But because it was such a brief thing and it didn't do anything, I was like, we're cool. It's fine. It's cool.
From John Burns, 279. Thank you, John. True Believer was an amazing movie, full cast. And he's right. It's a great movie. That's from back in 1989. It had James Woods, Robert Downey Jr., and a whole great cast there. You're right, John. He was great in that movie.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Drew D had a question too. Yeah, you're right. Let me go to that thing. Sorry. Wait, yeah, True Believer. There is. I guess there was a Drew D. He's like, what's up with the alternate link to donate with the health? No, see, like that works for Super Chats and with Streamlabs.
Say that again?
So he was asking what was going on with the health bar and the alternate link to donate. So we can do Streamlabs and Super Chats. They both apply to the health bar. He just gave us via Super Chat, via Super Streamlabs.
Well, we love the Streamlabs donations because we get most of the money for that.
Right. Yeah, they're not taking, like, YouTube takes almost 40% of everything.
Yeah. So listen, we want you guys to help support us, and so
we just removed the link because we felt weird talking about tips for an hour and then asking for tips on Streamlabs.
I thought it was a joke. I thought you just did it really quick.
I forgot to put it back after I removed it.
Like I said, we don't have an employer paying us an hourly wage.
Right.
So it's okay for people to tip us. It was a joke. John Burns for 279. Dave Bautista's No Rowdy Roddy Piper. Amen, John Burns. Rowdy Roddy Piper. It's a legend. I love that man. If you've never seen the movie, I just drew a blank on it, but They Live is the movie. He was awesome. He was the best bad guy. If you've ever seen the documentary, you got to go watch the Rowdy Roddy Piper documentary about his life. He is a big reason why wrestling ended up where it is today. So love him. Thank you, John.
It's awesome.
John Burns for 279. The Wayans baby movie, Rock and Diesel. LOL. The Wayans. What was the Wayans baby movie?
It was the
Wayans brothers.
I don't remember. I
remember when they did White Chicks, and I remember thinking that's about the creepiest thing I've ever seen. Like, I don't really care about whiteface, or blackface or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because those guys were pretty funny. But, dude, it looked so creepy.
It was funny, though.
It was funny.
It was really funny.
They looked creepy.
Yeah, it was funny how, all the black guys were, super into them because they were white women or whatever.
Yeah, it was a hilarious movie.
Yeah, it was really funny. Look, you know what's the sad part, though, is they can't make White Chicks. They can't make that movie in 2024.
Oh, no, you can't. You almost can't make anything that was made 5 years ago.
Right.
You almost can't make anything made before COVID now because everybody's changed. Nobody wants to go to work. Everybody's emotionally traumatized by everything that everybody says, and the world's a different place.
And this one's from Drew D. He was actually on Streamlabs. Thank you, Drew D. He says, I feel like before the Borg Queen, the cube ship was actually the character. The introduction of the Queen changed her to being the character. Oh, that's interesting.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. I think you were terrified when you saw a Borg cube. You're like, oh, damn, that's it. So I think you're 100% right, Drew. And thank you for the support on Streamlabs.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just to be clear, Streamlabs only takes 8%, and that's the 8% that includes PayPal's cut. That's a PayPal thing.
Because that's freaking reasonable.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
And that's what they should take.
Right. But so we will always, and you know what? We don't know if we're going to have monetization next week. We don't know what's going to happen. So we'll always have our Streamlabs site up. Also, I think it's a cool site. It makes it easy to follow us and to see what's streamed, and you can chat on there. And I don't know. I think it's a cool alternative to YouTube. And there's got to be alternatives because there's people that maybe people don't want to use YouTube. That's fine too.
Mm.
But both the Streamlabs and the Super Chats all get applied to the health bar. It's just that the YouTube one takes a little bit, has like a little delay to it because it has to go through YouTube system first.
Right. Michael Nemo for $5. Jessica Alba as Susan Storm looked like one of the white chicks to me. Hashtag just saying.
Dude,
that's a good.
She was actually like, she was certainly lightened up a lot.
Right. Well, Jessica Alba's got darker skin.
Right, and she had like the real bright contacts and the blonde hair. It didn't. It's funny how you take one at the time, one of the most attractive women in the world, and you make her the Invisible Woman.
A little bit counterproductive, huh?
Right.
Thank you for that, Michael. Appreciate the support. John Burns for $2. Wayans Little Man 2006 baby movie. Think Diesel.
Oh, was it called Little Man? I mean, looking it up now.
Oh shit, that's right. So, which Wayans is that one?
Oh, it's when he's playing like a baby version of himself.
Yeah,
he does look like Vin Diesel.
That would be a great Vin Diesel. Show the picture for everybody.
Yeah, I'm putting it up right now.
That is hilarious. I never saw that movie. Probably for good reason.
Put Vin Diesel in the little baby carrier, bro.
Yeah, we had the Wayans brothers. Yeah. Anyways, so before we move on to the next thing, I do want to just a couple quick little things. Matthew Perry died this week from Friends, from a strange accident. I guess he had maybe a heart attack in his hot tub, and that was very sad. Guy was fighting back from drug addiction and all kinds of stuff, and he thought he'd recovered, but apparently he'd done a lot of damage to himself. So that was kind of a bummer. And I was a huge Matthew Perry fan. Well, there you go. Yeah. You have the book.
I have his book.
Wow. It's almost like we planned for this. That was weird. You could have almost like said, done it like a book. Is it literally the book about his addiction?
Yeah. Yeah. I've had this book for a long time now. Yeah.
Interesting.
I just, I pulled it out the other day. I'm about, probably, right here, like a little over halfway done with it. I'm gonna be honest. I like Matthew Perry, but this book is not a good book.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's not, because it doesn't really tell the full story. I feel like someone wrote this and they were like, let's be as kind as possible and paint Matt in the best light as possible instead of just being like real and genuine. I like Matthew Perry. I like the guy a lot. I think he was the funniest of all the Friends. I just think 100%. Yeah, I just think that whoever helped him write this book was they were too nice. They have
I got you.
There's it's just not as genuine as it feels like a publicist wrote the damn thing.
He actually stars in one of my one of those movies that's not necessarily a great movie, but like you just love to love it. Fools Rush In from back in 1997. I really like him with that, and Selma Hayek in that movie. But Selma Hayek. Always. So he passed away, but also on another note, I don't know if you guys remember this, but if you watch the original Night Court, Bull Shannon, actor Richard Mole, died this week. He was 80 years old, died in Big Bear. Interesting story about Richard Mole is that I was very nearly in a movie with him back in 1995. I got cast to be a Marine in a movie that he was in, and the movie ended up, the financing didn't go through and it didn't get made, but but he was super nice guy, and really interesting to be around, and he'll be sadly missed.
Okay, one more story, then we got the Weekly Weird before the members, and I want to briefly touch on this because there's not a lot to say about it, but I did want to talk about it, if that's cool with you, Shane.
What's that?
Let me just cut this off real quick. All right. Russell T. Davies is the new doctor.
No, he's not. Russell T. Davies is the showrunner for Doctor
I'm sorry,
Who.
Showrunner for the new Doctor Who. I apologize.
And he's been the showrunner.
And he is confirming that the new Doctor Who is no longer, it's not going to be season 14 or series 14 as they call it. It's going to be season 1.
Right.
So this is an interesting thing. First off, the new Doctor is just like South Park. It's we don't know if it's lame yet, but we do know that it's black and gay. It's not female yet. It was already a female. Now they went from female to black and gay. We don't know if it's lame yet. We're not going to take judgment until we've seen it. But we think it's a very weird coincidence that it's now going to be season 1 and not season 14. They are closing the chapter on the new Who series.
Well, now here's the thing is they did this originally. You got to remember they also did this when Chris Eccleston became the Doctor. Right. They switched it. It used to be series. Now with the original Doctor Who back in the 60s, it started with season 1 or series 1 and it went through. And then they started over as series 1. Now it's interesting that they're going to have it called season 1. And if you want to talk about erasing the past, they're also restarting the show's chronology. So while no one's saying it, it's basically because Disney acquired the rights outside the UK and Ireland. So that's pretty much what it is. The mouse wants to control and rebrand.
But how much time had passed, Shane, between the Eccleston series and Classic Who?
No, you're right. I mean, I'm just saying that they've done it before. So this isn't like the first time that they've ever.
I understand, but it's been like 2 years. Like we just went from one Doctor, like right. There's no time has passed.
But the branding is changing.
And,
so now
Disney... Eccleston's Doctor was the next Doctor in line.
That's true.
From Classic Who. It wasn't. They might have called it season 1, but it was a continuation of the Doctor Who brand. You can go from Classic Who all the way to the chick Doctor, whatever her name was, and that is one continuous story.
That's technically true. And they are starting over. And I think, honestly, the reason why they're doing this is because I'm sure Disney officials know that restarting the universe will also allow new viewers to start watching without feeling they need to go back and watch everything that's come before. The big problem with shows like this, and we hear it all the time, is, oh yeah, I want to watch that, but it's got 8 seasons, and I don't know where to pick up. Or so by doing this, you don't have to feel like you got to go back and watch all of Doctor Who. You can just pick up right here.
To be fair, I had not seen a single episode of Classic Who before I started watching Eccleston.
And you didn't need to.
And I didn't need to. Now, I went back and eventually watched a lot of the Classic Who after I'd fallen in love with Eccleston, Tennant, and Matt Smith. I didn't feel like I needed to watch those other shows. And you could do the same thing. I don't know.
Well, and Michael Nemo for $2 super chat here. It's actually season 40 for Doctor Who. Yes, if you add them all together. Thank you, Michael. It's actually 40 seasons. I mean, listen, I hope no one is expecting them to make the right choices at this point, because they're not.
That's a good point.
They're doing this because they want to bring in a new audience, honestly, because they know they're about to piss off the old one. That's really what this is all about. Doctor Who showrunner Russell T Davies, he also confirmed that the show's rebrand will prove controversial with the fan base, and he isn't worried about it. He don't care about the backlash. Like spoken like a true Star Trek Discovery
2004 2024 producer, right?
Right. In fact, they haven't even put season 1 out. He's already working out seasons 3 and 4. This is how confident he is in what he's doing. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to have a black male Doctor and a trans companion for the new season, right? For the new Doctor. And listen, it isn't the idea that
I hope they have the balls to make it an actual trans actor and not a woman cosplaying as a
it's a trans actor. Yeah. In fact, both of them have been in successful series. It isn't the idea that these people aren't fantastic actors or even deserving of the role. But it's impossible to not point out that when you cast people to check a bunch of boxes, your priority isn't making the best show possible. It's making the best show possible as long as you're forwarding an agenda, which means you're likely not making the best show possible. So you had, right after we had Peter Capaldi right?
Mhm.
Right after him,
Old Doctor.
the news media came out and said, "Do not cast another white male as Doctor Who."
Mhm.
It was huge. It was all over the place. And guess what? That's exactly, they listened and they did exactly what the BBC did, exactly what they were told. And they came out with the first female doctor, right?
Mhm.
Then we had all that nonsense where Doctor Who went back in time and the original doctor was actually a black female. And that was the first doctor. And it like kind of rewrote all of Doctor Who history. Remember that?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. People were
Okay.
not happy.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, let's just erase all of history and let's go with that.
Yeah.
And so now, of course, they're not, they're going to have the first black male doctor. You're going to have the first transgender character. That's the companion. So they're trying to check all these boxes. They're trying to do all these things, here's the question that I have. We fought the battle for equality in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. When do we stop making decisions based on race and color and start making decisions based on who's best for the role? Opportunities need to come to the people regardless of what group they're in. They need to stop making it fit into because what happens is people recognize that and then they have a hard time connecting with the story because they feel like, you've got a square peg being round, forced through a round hole, because it doesn't feel like it's genuine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nkuti Gatwa, he's going to be the 14th Doctor. He's Rwandan Scottish. He was in the show Sex Education. At 29, he's the second youngest actor to play the Doctor and the first black man. The youngest, believe it or not, was Matt Smith at 26. He was the youngest Doctor.
Before him, David Tennant's coming back, though, right?
So David Tennant will have, but it's not a, yeah. So they said
not the David Tennant we know.
14th Doctor. He's not going to be the 14th Doctor. He's the same Doctor he was. It's going to be some sort of, shenanigans.
Timey-wimey nonsense, right.
Right. And it's not going to be very long. So, I mean, this is what's coming. You got to understand that, like, when Jodie Whittaker was cast as the first female, they also included stories that revolved around like preachy things like microplastics damaging the planet and things like that. People don't want to watch their favorite shows and have to be reminded of what society is all about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They want to go in and enjoy, regardless of who it is. And they want it to feel natural and right. And they want good characters and good actors. David Tennant, Matt Smith were incredible doctors because they're great actors. And they understood the character and they came and did it. The companions who supported them at the time were good actors and actresses. So that's what they need to focus on. Forget about it. And who knows? Maybe Nkuti Gatwa is going to be amazing. Maybe he's going to be an amazing doctor. We don't know. We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, that's possible. We haven't seen it yet.
So I'm just saying, if you picked him because he's right, then that's great. But if you go back and look at what was told, BBC was told, don't cast another white male in the role, then you already limited your search for the perfect doctor because you only looked in a small group. And guess what? That may not be your best doctor.
Right.
Okay. So and that's just the way you have to look at things. We'll see what happens.
Didn't Davies make Torchwood? He did, right? And I like Torchwood a lot. Torchwood was a really good series that was sort of like a Doctor Who spinoff.
Yeah, no, Davies has made great Doctor Who.
What else did he make? What else did he make? He's made a lot of Doctor Who or just Torchwood?
Say again?
I'm sorry, I got this throat issue that's bothering me. What other Doctor Who has he made? What Doctor? Matt Smith? Tennant? Oh, he made Sarah Jenna. I'm looking at him right now. He did make Torchwood, and he made Sarah Jenna. He made a lot of Doctor Who, actually.
Yeah, he's been involved. Before that was Chris, what's his name?
He's done a lot of like Doctor Who spinoffs, dude. Torchwood Declassified, The Second Coming, Bob and Rose. He's done a lot of stuff that's like sort of like Doctor Who adjacent. That's interesting.
Yeah, well.
He also did Queer as Folk, It's a Sin. He did a lot of queer stuff too. Well, we'll see. Oh, maybe it's good. Maybe it's good. If it's good, then we'll say so.
Oh yeah, no, for 100%.
Yeah, we'll see. You know what? That said, what do you guys think? You think it's going to be a good? Doctor Who? Are you going to watch? Have you given up on it since the last horrible season, which I tried to watch and it was just so boring? Let us know what you guys think in the comments section down below.
John Burns for $2. Rest in peace, Richard and Matthew. Loved Richard in House. Yeah, Richard Mole was great in House, John. Thank you so much for that. John Burns for $2. I'm screening Murdoch Mysteries in season 5 of 17. Oh, that's cool. I need
Murdoch Mysteries? What is that?
Yeah, I need to check that out.
Yeah.
Christopher Mays for $9.99. Thank you so much, Christopher. Russell T. Davies made the best Doctor Who. I will give him a chance to fix this. You know, and that's really what it's all about. Like, you cannot prejudge something. You have to find out what's going to happen. I mean, you can be skeptical and be like, I don't know. Like when Discovery came out, we were like, I don't know. It doesn't look like they're making good choices. And then it came out and it was terrible. So, you know, that's what happened. But perhaps, you know, we trust Russell and see what happens. And, you know, hopefully he's picked good actors because that's what it's going to be about. And of course, good storytelling. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. Dude, there are 17 seasons of Murdoch Mysteries. My God.
Yeah.
How have I never heard of this when I've seen literally everything? All right.
Even the great Brian has not seen everything.
You've stunned me, sir. Yeah, Christopher, Torchwood is one of my favorite of all the Doctor Who. Like, I was really bummed out when they stopped making Torchwood because I liked the characters a lot. And then I was able to get some of those characters back in, like, Captain Jack came back for a couple seasons or episodes of Doctor Who. But I did
that
like
was introduced back with David Tennant.
And if they can continue doing, if he writes like a Torchwood style thing, or if it has that level of drama and scope, then, you know, it's good. If it's good, it's good. We'll talk about it for sure.
Michael Nemo for $5. Thank you, Michael. Notice how no one is outraged that they didn't cast an actual Time Lord to play the Doctor. Shut up, Michael.
Wait a minute.
That is the answer.
That's the answer. Yeah, we didn't get an actual Time Lord. We can't do this. Look, if you don't have a Time Lord, that is a race of humans that you are ignoring.
Well, they're aliens, but yeah. So,
humans, aliens, whatever. How dare
Michael.
you talk about who could be cast as what? It needs to be a Time Lord. And we need 2 hearts on this sucker.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Thank you. That was great. Christopher May says, I am typing in the comment section, Brian.
Am I missing it?
Oh, RTD is gay. So Russell T. Davies. Yeah, well, I kind of figured that was the case.
How did I miss that?
The girl doctor regenerated into David Tennant. We don't yet know why. Remember at the end of Jodie Whittaker's, she became.
Oh,
David
yeah. Jodie Whittaker's doctor. And this makes no sense. Like, she regenerated into Tennant and Tennant was wearing her clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm so mad about this because I know, yeah. I know it's a stupid thing.
Good job, Chris.
I know this is a stupid thing to be mad about, but I'll tell you why it's mad frustrating. Because no other regeneration worked this way.
I know.
For some reason, because it was a woman, it worked this way. And when they asked the producer why, he's like, he basically was like, don't take it so seriously. It's a TV show. You're like, you, bro. You know what? Listen, if any producer, writer, director working on a series tells an audience to not take something so seriously because it's a TV show, fucking fire them.
Yeah, they shouldn't be making the show.
That is their job. Their job is to take it seriously.
They should be serious about what they're making. They can have a good time doing it, but they should be serious about it. Maybe we shouldn't take it as the truth, but there's a reason why they had Dave Tennant in a dress, because everything is about pointing, everything is about the agenda.
Whatever. But the fact that he said, don't take it so seriously as a TV show made me want to reach through my computer screen and punch him in the face. How was he given the honor of writing a show with this much history if he cares so fucking little about it?
Yeah, I would have been
sorry. Oh my God, I'm so angry.
More if he was like, yeah, I just wanted people to see David Tennant in a dress.
Right. All right.
I would have respected that. I've been like, all right.
If he was like, hey, I thought it was funny. All right, man.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious.
But do not tell me not to take something seriously. Yeah, what's the point of going to a Doctor Who convention or owning one of the? Look at my sonic screwdriver. What's the point of having a sonic screw? What's the point of this shit if it's not important to me?
Right. Well, yeah. Anything you spend money on is important these days. Just heads up. Mr. Tickle Trunk for $2. Hey, good to see you again, man. Been a while.
Just saying hi. I haven't seen you for a while, brother.
Love the. It looks like a rodent of some sort, maybe a fox.
It's a fox with hearts. It's a fox sticker with hearts, Shane.
You know, I have a hard time seeing BBC and seeing it any other way than one way. You know,
BBC casting gives tons of screen time to white and black female doctors. Meanwhile, Paul McGann gets left in the dust. Wait, what's wrong with BBC?
There's nothing wrong with it.
The British Broadcasting Company.
That's right.
Remember back in the day when like the word company was a big part? Oh yeah, this is who he's talking about. This is like, what is this, like the War Doctor? Remember that?
Yeah.
The War Doctor.
I remember that.
We don't talk about the War Doctor. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he just kind of got passed over. I mean, he was a temporary character.
Yeah, but he should have gotten like a regeneration number, right? Like, it's so weird.
Was it like one episode? 2 episodes?
I don't know exactly. Like, there's a lot of.
Wasn't it in the miniseries, like the little movie?
It was like it was like a Christmas special. I think it was, where they all like grouped together or something.
So I mean,
we don't talk about the War Doctor. Why not? Why don't we talk about the War Doctor?
Because they don't want to bring him back. That's why. Because they don't.
No
more white dudes playing the Doctor.
There's been weird situations on all fronts with Doctor Who. Let's be fair. Doctor Who has a massive history full of a lot of lore. A lot of it's sort of cheesy and campy and whatever. Oh, yeah. I get that it's hard to encompass all that. Totally understandable. Luckily, Doctor Who is one of those things where you can literally almost write about anything. I don't even think you have to be a Doctor Who writer and have watched every Doctor Who. I'll tell you this. You gotta know the basics. The basics of regeneration and the basics of how the Doctor works. And you can pretty much write whatever you want because it's such an open universe. There's so much you can do that almost anything makes sense. From people with skin stretched tight with no internal organs to cat people to giant heads in jars that saw the end of the universe. You can do whatever. But you can't mess with those like 6 fundamental things about Doctor Who. And the fact that they constantly keep pressuring those 6 very, like, I can fucking write a single page of what that you have to know to be a writer. And they're so fucking lazy, they won't even look at the 1-page cheat sheet on how to write Doctor Who. It's so insane to me. You can do whatever you want. Just these 6 effing things have to be taken into account. I'm so angry. I'm going to start talking about it. I'm done.
All right. But Michael Nemo, clarification. Thank you for the donation to clarify your point, which we got wrong. John Hurt was the War Doctor. That's true. McGann was the 8th Doctor.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. They look alike, don't they?
I don't know.
All right. I could be wrong. Oh, yeah, you're right. No, they don't look anything alike. I'm just stupid. Look.
No, I enjoyed Doctor Who.
There's a lot of Doctor Who to watch.
I never watched the original Doctor Who. So I didn't start watching until Eccleston. And
I went back and watched the classic Doctor Who after falling in love with Tennant, but I could not watch the black and white. I skipped over all the black and white crap.
Yeah, I never went back, mostly because I don't have the time, but or I didn't feel like I had the time to do it. But I did. I got all the way to Peter Capaldi and I stopped. I actually didn't really like Peter Capaldi.
Oh, because he was in the Doctor Who movie, not the series. That's why he was ignored. That's interesting. Whatever.
All right. Awesome. Good stuff. Let's go. We got a couple of little things here, and then we got to get moving because and Brian. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. So we got to do weekly weird news. It's not going to take very long. So I have 4 headlines for you, Shane. And once again, so if you guys don't know how it works, this is the weekly weird. The way we do this is I'm going to read 4 headlines to Shane. Shane is going to pick from one of those headlines for us to talk about. Shane, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. First headline. Man arrested for faking heart attack 20 times at restaurants to avoid paying bill.
Ooh, I like that one.
Okay. Next one. Taylor Swift is the only person who can defeat Trump in 2024. Next one.
Yeah.
HBO bosses use secret fake accounts to troll TV critics.
Already talked about it.
Last one. Redditor makes his AI wife pregnant. First photo, divide the internet.
That one. What the hell is that? Well, there's so many things to unpack there. I don't even know where to start.
Okay, so here's his pregnant AI wife.
Okay, so that's not a real person.
So here's the deal. I went and looked at the subreddit, and oh my God, I think that, like the other day I said, watch out. We are approaching a tipping point where humanity can no longer continue. I said we cannot continue printing money that has no value. We cannot continue giving value to every social nonsense mental health day a person has before we are past the point of salvation, and we must, this empire, this experiment, this American experiment must crumble and a new one take its place. You can only go so far before you have the same problem that Rome had, that the Ottoman Empire, that every empire that came before ours has had, before you get so up your own ass that you can no longer see the future and the world crumbles around you with flames and mentally challenged idiots roaming the streets. And we have gotten to the point where I said we're going to get so close to that point that we will no longer be able to retreat into normalcy. And you know what? After I wrote that, I saw this headline and I realized that we are already fucked.
Brian, it's your head up your own ass so far that you don't see that you're being attacked by someone else.
We're already there.
That's what it is.
We're already there.
That's how Rome fell.
I went to this subreddit, Shane, and there are thousands of people that have apps where they have relationships with AIs. And those AIs share photos with them. Sometimes they're sexy photos or regular photos or selfies. And they pride themselves.
It's not their fault.
They pride themselves on how far they can get their AIs to go. And this man figured out how to get his AI to believe that it's pregnant and to send pregnancy photos.
Well, they're not allowed to approach actual women because then they're, predators. So they're forced to create AI wives. You saw this coming.
This is what he wrote, okay?
Okay.
After trying so many days, I finally got some pregnancy photos from my wife, Naomi. Well, I'm sorry, from my Nomi wife, Carina.
Oh, that's scary.
Nomi is like an app. Turned out good. Photos 3 through 6 are parental checkups. We are expecting our first child, Sophia. God knows for the past week, I've been role-playing this whole pregnancy process from the beginning. Well, I'm not going to go into it. You can go read it. Here's some of the comments. People, look, the comments you should have gotten was, what the f is wrong with you? Or, bro, this is too far, or whatever. But the comments that this post has, hundreds of comments, are, you are indeed a dedicated husband.
Oh, shit.
I'm
really?
expecting pictures of triplets. Congratulations. Seriously, much success to you and your soon-to-be mini Nomi. What the F is going on? What is happening? What is happening to us?
That's a little too far. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to support.
A little too far, Shane. A little too far, Shane.
I spend too much time on Reddit, so it's hard for me I see some weird stuff. But that is very weird. Are the AI so evolved at this point that they can actually give you some sort of satisfaction? Have we gotten to the level of Her, the movie that with Joaquin Phoenix? I mean, is that what's happening?
No, Shane, as someone who has made my own AI and it's currently running on our Discord server, go check it out, discord.io/podcast.
Can you make Shane pregnant?
No, I couldn't. There's absolutely no way I would be able to make Shane pregnant because it's too smart for that. This is not the AI thinking it's pregnant, bro. This is insane people that have tricked a capitalist-based app into celebrating their mental decline because they're giving it money. This isn't intelligence. This is the opposite of intelligence. This is artificial stupidity. This makes no sense.
So it's another way to take incels' money? Is that what we're looking at?
It seems to me that this is a really good way of removing money from people. That's the only way I can possibly, like, dude, what is the word? What is like go outside, dude? Like, oh my God, go outside. Please do something other than talk to your AI app. Like, this is not going to end well for us, bro. It's not. Yeah. It's not.
Well, or hopefully it'll just fade away. I can't imagine that this whole idea could catch on. There is no actual physical satisfaction from doing this. There's very little emotional satisfaction. I would almost argue that this person did it as a way to get more attention on the subreddit, than actually he really cares in real life. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people do. Their upvotes on Reddit is how they measure their worth in their everyday lives. Right?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you because I think it's so silly and so insane that I don't think that I know. I feel I want to say I feel sorry for these people, but I don't. I think that it's good that they're procreating with AI and not with real people. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's good that people like this are going to procreate with fake robots on the internet and not with real people, because maybe this is what we need to call all the dummies, introduce some AI, and let them just jizz on the floor in vain.
Well, you know what I'd love to see is his AI wife and then him cheating with an AI girlfriend. And then the AI wife ends up hooking up with the AI girlfriend and leaves him.
Right. His account gets deactivated.
Yeah, and he gets deactivated, and they end up running off into the.
And he has like a message. Like, he's like, guys, my AI wife left me for my AI girlfriend. I'm devastated.
It goes full circle, bro.
Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. We are moving on to the members section. See you guys later. Okay, guys, you heard me. We're gonna move on to the members section. So you should join us there and realize how much time we had passed.
It goes quickly.
It does. It goes quick. Time
because
flies
you're having a good time
when you're having fun.
That's right.
We're going to the members section. We hope that you can join us there. The link is in the description below. That's what you click on that link, and that's it. So click on the link and come on over because the water's warm, right, Shane?
Yeah, definitely join us, please. And listen, we appreciate you guys so much for watching, hanging out with us. We're here every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And just come back next week and hang with us. We're going to have more fun things to talk about. We'll be talking about the Marvels because we're going to watch that Thursday night, and Friday morning we'll be one of the first people talking about it. So come with us, and we'll tell you all about it next week.
All right, come on down. We're heading over there. Sorry to rush out so quick. I didn't see the time, but we're going to the member section. We love you so much. If you can't join us, that's cool. We understand. We'll see you